I don't know what beat this is. Oh, okay. Took me a minute there. I didn't know what beat this is. I know what this is. The Weeknd. And I forget who else is on this beat with The Weeknd. Oh yeah, Cardi. I don't really rock with Playboy Cardi. Playboy Cardi is an absentee father to Iggy. Where I don't want to go down that path talking about that. Keith McPherson on the Fan inside the 9 o'clock hour. Okay, let's see. I said I was going to start to add some NFL conversation around the Reese's Senior Bowl and the East West Shrine Bowl. Now, why that's important to you as a Giants fan specifically, and the Jets as well, as Aaron Glenn has been introduced. Him and Darren Moogie are going to be, I knew I wasn't tripping. I knew I wasn't tweaking today. I saw Loogie and I asked about it. I'm like, is there a new drop where you do Moogie? It's Moogie, but is there a new drop where you go Moogie? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I know I wasn't bugging out in my headphones. I'm like, are they playing the Loogie drop, or did he make a new one where he's making an M sound? Moogie. Anyway, I knew you were about to play that, bro. No, stop. I hear it all day. I told Loogie, I'm like, that is like, I don't know. That is like, it's not an earworm. It's one of those things that like pierces through and it just like breaks sound. Like cats and dogs start running. And I heard somebody call and say like their kid reacts to his fake Sean voice. I'm like, I don't know. Talk about like overload, like sensory overload listening to the Afternoon Drive show. It's like you get fake Sean, you get the Loogie drop, the Moogie drop. Now, anyway, Darren Moogie and Aaron Glenn are going to start evaluating talent to figure out, who's going to be on the roster for this Jets team. Obviously, the number one thing that the Giants need to do is figure out if they can get a quarterback with this number 3 overall pick. It is time. It is time. It is time. Now, a lot of scouts are talking about, hey, the guys at the top of this draft are nowhere near last year's class. So what? That doesn't matter. Okay. If they can get Shedeur Sanders, they have to get Shedeur Sanders. Now, let me go to my handy dandy notebook. The Reese's Senior Bowl will be played at the University of South Alabama on Saturday, February 21st, 2005 at 1:30. The East West Shrine Bowl game will be played on January 30th. So those are coming up, and they're huge evaluation periods for these teams and these players. And, you can kind of make a name there. Flashback to Daniel Jones. I believe that's where Dave Gettleman fell in full bloom love with Daniel Jones at the Senior Bowl. I think Mike Kafka is down at the Senior Bowl. And I did see a report that he's not wearing any Saints gear, even though he's interviewing for that job. He's, of course, repping the Giants, and I think he's going to stay with the Giants. I think the Saints are going to hire Kellen Moore. But I'm really looking closely at Jalen Milroe. I've been extremely critical of him. I've been hard on him. I just don't think he deserves to be ranked the number 3 quarterback, but I want to change my stance on him. From the little bit of football I've seen him play, his mechanics kind of scare me. I think he's a project. But I was watching him today, and, I realized, like, when he throws the ball, he's like, I had a quarterback coach that told us, like, when you throw the football, the nose of the football is supposed to go back. Like, the first thing is back with the ball. And when I watch him throw the ball, he's got it and he just raises it up and he just pushes it. But I'm watching him throw today and I'm like, he's such a weight room monster. He's so strong. He's such a beast of an athlete. He has a quick release, and whatever works for you to get the ball out to the receivers, do it. 888-808-1019. So I'm starting to change my tune on Jalen Milroe. I hope he plays well. I hope that good things come out of this Senior Bowl for him, because maybe he's a project for a Brian Daboll in the second round, not in the first round. I think the top 2 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round, Cam and Shedeur. Let's see. In my notes, there was a word on Shedeur, and if Shedeur is there at 3, or if they're able to trade up to 2, the Giants are going to do that. They're going to do it because they've scouted Shedeur. They've gone to Colorado. They have a relationship with him. And I'm trying to find this quote that I got today reading about this. I saw Charlotte Carroll post. Joe Schoen said this about Shedeur Sanders at the East West Shrine Bowl. I also heard that he's not practicing, but he's going to play in the game. I don't understand that. I don't understand. You could get hurt in the game. The game is live. Why not practice? Why not take the practice reps? I think because in practice is where you get scrutinized the most. Right now, Shedeur Sanders' brother, Shiloh Sanders, is getting cooked on Twitter for some reps where he, let a completion be made in front of him, didn't tackle a guy, whatever. So here's Joe Schoen on Shedeur Sanders. He says, he's a great kid. He's a great kid. Yeah, really good personality, football smart. Dad's a football coach. It's a little bit cliche, but he checks all the boxes of a dad that's a football coach and the passion that he approaches the game with. It was good getting the meeting. He's had a really good career in Colorado, and obviously we look forward to getting to know all those guys the rest of the process. I think that they know Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll, the Giants, they need a quarterback, and I think they also know that at 3, you got to get one of Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. And I think you're more likely to get a Shedeur Sanders. I think that there's a chance that both teams in front of them, the Titans and the Browns, need quarterbacks, and they take Cam Ward, or they could take Shedeur Sanders. But somebody's going to want a Travis Hunter or an Abdul Carter. There's some rumors about the Browns potentially trading Myles Garrett, but I don't see them doing that. All right, back to the phones we go. Talking about everything now, right? We're 2 hours into the show. We've hit on the Yankees, Hal Steinbrenner's comments, Aaron Boone being in here today, what he had to say about third base being a combination of Cabrera versus LeMahieu versus Peraza, the leadoff spot being somewhat of a combination of Jazz, Dominguez, Bellinger, and then center field being Cody Bellinger's spot to start, and them trying to get Dominguez up to speed in left field. Also, Pete Alonso, ongoing saga there. We don't know who he's going to sign with, what his market looks like outside of what the Mets presented him. I still think that there's a possibility they get into a room and figure it out. But I also think after Amazing Day, the comments made by Stearns and Cohen, that's intentional, that is blunt, that is brutally honest. And then now hearing about Spencer Torkelson and Ryan Mountcastle, that is intentional as well. I think that is in an attempt to say, hey, Scott, we don't have to take this asymmetric offer that you're giving to us. You need to bend a little bit here. And Pete, tell your guy, if this is where you want to be, let's get it done. So back to the phones we go. Also, obviously talking about the Super Bowl and the Chiefs and the officiating and, the Eagles and Saquon Barkley. That's another thing I had to put out there. The coping that's going on, the coping that is going on this station from Giants fans on this station. Listen, if you're tired of the Saquon Barkley narrative as far as Saquon Barkley being talked about with the Giants as an Eagle, we've only just begun. If Saquon Barkley is Super Bowl MVP, rushes for 200 yards, and helps stop history, and is a part of an Eagles team that stops the Chiefs from three-peating, and the Eagles win the Super Bowl, you will never hear the end of it. So all the coping about what kind of player was Saquon Barkley when he was with the Giants? Well, it's so played out. Why do they got to keep mentioning the Giants? Because the first ever offseason Hard Knocks, we saw how it all played out. And we also saw Saquon last season say, I want to be a Giant, I want to be a Giant, I want to be a Giant. And if you ask me, I don't let that guy leave the building. I don't care about your legacy elsewhere. If you say you want to be here and you're the best player on this team, the captain of the team, which they also expressed a year before where they wouldn't trade him. If you want to stay here in New York because you know the bright lights of New York City, you understand what it could do for your post-career. If you want to be here, buddy, yeah, we're going to find a way to keep you here. Because our owner said, hey, I'm going to lose some sleep at night if he goes to Philly. I'm going to do everything in my power to not let you go to the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to do everything in my power to not let the results of this mistake, which, yes, Tom Brady called it one giant mistake. It is. The results of the mistake are that the Eagles are back in the Super Bowl. I don't believe that they become what they become without Saquon. That blood is on your hands, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. And you Giants fans can say whatever you want about, he wouldn't have done this with us. No kidding. That's on you. You had the best years of his career as a rookie. You should have done more. So we could have got a 2,000-yard season out of Saquon. But all of the saving face, all of the coping, Always like, oh, will they get over it? No, they'll never get over it. It's never going to end. He will always be a Giant. He will always be a number 2 overall pick for the Giants. He will always be somebody that was vocal about wanting to be a Giant. And your GM opened up his handy dandy GM book for dummies that he wrote and nobody else wrote. And in that book, he thumbed through the pages and said, Saquon Barkley's just a running back. Good guy, yeah. Great guy in the locker room, yeah. But just a running back. We're devaluing running backs, just like they're devaluing Pete Alonso at first base. We're devaluing the running backs. We're going to pay the quarterback, though. We're going to pay Daniel Jones. And we're not going to pay this guy who Daniel Jones literally had success on the back of. 888-808-1019. Make sure digital clips that up. That's a good Saquon take because I can't stand listening to all the, oh, he wouldn't have been there. Oh, when will they stop? Never. They're never going to stop talking about the mistake that the Giants made, letting Saquon test the market and sign with their arch rival. It's never going away. Chris is in White Plains next up on the Fan. Hello, Chris.
Moogie.
Oh, my. Loogie.
Hey, listen, we talked. I played football in South Jersey, Ocean County for Pinelands Regional. We talked before about Lou Fusillo, Lacey, all that. But I'm a diehard Giant fan. I do not know how did Joe Schoen not lose his job, first off, over that Saquon Barkley thing. And if we do not get Shedeur Sanders, Joe Schoen should be shown the door right away. I don't care what we have to do to get him. It can happen. We did it with Eli, and there's no reason we can't do it again.
Yeah, they're holding John Mara hostage. John, blink twice if you need help.
Exactly. I bleed blue, and it's just so frustrating to see, like, it almost feels like nobody's on the same freaking page, and one guy's doing one thing and one guy's doing another. Give Dable the opportunity to develop this kid, because guess what? He's a dog. Sanders is a dog. He reminds me of a baker, going to put your hand in the face mask, and
he's tough. He's a quarterback. He's Deion's kid. He's better. That's all. I hear all the criticism against him. I'm like, he's better than any quarterback the Giants have had in the recent time.
Exactly. Just Eli. And you got to remember when Eli came out, Kurt Warner was our quarterback. And what did he do after he left? But I mean, listen, at today's day and age right now, we need to get Shedeur. And if we don't get him, I believe Shane should be shown the door. Dable should stay. And I want to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. I called you last week, and I told you Houston was going to give Kansas City a game, and you told me it was going to be a blowout. I don't know if you remember that, but Houston.
Did I say blowout? Because I've been pretty vocal about how the Chiefs barely scored 30 points. I didn't think they were gonna beat the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are blowing anybody out. They haven't all year.
Yeah, they haven't, but we had a conversation, and I said, I think Houston has a chance, and you kind of said, I don't think so.
They didn't have a chance. They lost.
Yeah, no, I know. I hear you, bro. I think Houston's on the up. I love CJ Stroud. And then the other thing that really bothers me here, when Ben McAdoo was fired because he wanted to take Patrick Mahomes when he was the head coach. You know that, right? He was in love with Patrick Mahomes that year. And
I know the story, yeah.
You know that. Okay, so it's just, it's frustrating, man. I bleed blue. I was at both Super Bowls, and I've just been a diehard. In this last 10 years, man, I'm like, come on, get your crap together. We are supposed to be a franchise like Pittsburgh. We're supposed to be one of the originals. We are how a team is supposed to be run, and I feel like there's just disconnect. I don't know if it's Shane and Dable. I don't know if it's the Maras, but we should have got rid of Jones, kept Barkley, and it didn't matter who's. But you could put DeVito back there, just hand Barkley the ball and get him an offensive line.
Thanks for the call, Chris. It's all of them together. Like another thing about the Giants, right? From this past weekend, everybody kept putting up, the fact that they missed out on Jaden Daniels. So not only were you not able to tank correctly last year and leaned into the Tommy Cutlets thing, you missed out on Jaden Daniels, you missed out on Drake May. And then in that same offseason, right? And Hard Knocks showed us everything. That Hard Knocks, I would have fired Joe Schoen and Brian Dable just for agreeing to be on Hard Knocks. Didn't the Giants, wasn't that the Giants thing? They never wanted to do Hard Knocks, but they actually let cameras be a fly on the wall in the worst offseason possible. 888-808-1019, where you lose Saquon Barkley, where you got Joe Shane's kid telling you, get Jaden Daniels. You only got one opportunity at this job, Dad. Get Jaden Daniels, where Jaden Daniels was in Hard Knocks. And Brian Dable's got his feet up on the table like, you want to be here? And Jaden Daniels is like, what? You guys are not, you're picking 6. Without saying it, Jaden Daniels is like, you can't get me. You can't trade up and get me. I've already been in communication with the Commanders, Magic Johnson and them. They're taking me number 2 overall, but, I'm doing my due diligence, I'll come do the visit. It's just funny, man. All of the decision-making has been wrong. So, as I hear these Giants fans try to sell you on, they weren't ready to sign a running back. They weren't ready to pay a running back. They wouldn't have done it here. It's not about that. It's about what came after the decision that you made. You had the worst season in 100 years. You paid Devin Singletary for no reason. You found a 5th-round rookie that if he's able to get 1,000 yards, I think Saquon would have been able to get 1,500. And if you pair him with Malik Neighbors, who you drafted number 6 overall, that changes the field. That changes how defenses can attack you. I think last night I was talking about how different it was when it was Saquon and OBJ. Yeah, everybody can key in on Saquon when Richie James is out there, when David Sills is out there, when Isaiah Hodgins is out there. But I'm just tired of hearing all the saving face and coping about, oh, please, how much are they going to talk about the Giants? A lot. Forever. It was a mistake, and they're never going to let you live it down. 888-808-1019. Just accept it. Just take the L. Hold the L. Where's that L in here, yo? Where's that L in here? I've yet to touch it because I feel like that's some type of bad mojo. Every day on the fan, whether it's C-Mac at night, whether it's during the daytime, the midday show, afternoon, like, well, we all understand it was the right move. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The right move is to pay your guy that you drafted that was vocal about wanting to be here, especially to protect your fans from going through the hell of a season that they had to deal with you losing 10 games in a row and then watching him go Super Saiyan as an Eagle. 888-808-1019. Let's go to my guy, Jonathan, out in Los Angeles on the fan. What's up, John?
What's up?
Yo, Bash, what up?
What's good, my guy? Good, bro.
Holding it down.
Just getting out the park, bro. Had some my AirPods. Great show like always, bro. For first, man. I was checking the flights for opening day, man, and it looks like just me and my son, we're gonna go. My wife is due with my baby daughter any day now.
Congrats.
Thank you, bro. So, bro, I gotta go back to level 1 again, bro. No, those sleepless nights, but hey, man, that's life. But, so every time when I hear you say, "Oh yeah, my baby's asleep," but your baby's getting bigger, I gotta drop to level 1, and I know you too, Keith. You gonna drop to level 1?
At some point, I'm gonna be like, yeah, we're having our second kid. I don't know when, but I'm not trying to go back to level 1 like you said. I don't look at it like playing a video game. It was a nightmare.
Oh man, but yeah, bro. I can't wait for opening day, man. That's a must every year for me and my son. Regarding the Yankees, man, I actually agree with House said, bro. I agree that the Dodgers were better than us. We had a better rotation. The thing is, it was a bad call putting Cortez in the first game. We had that game won. All right, game 2. We could have actually won that game. I don't even remember. We had the bases loaded for the ninth, and we had Trevi up. All right, forget it. We lost that game.
It pinch hit Trevi. That's so, like, not to cut you off, John, but like they were better. They had a better bench that they didn't use. The Yankees didn't have a bench. They had a better lineup. Yeah, we had the better pitching, I guess, but not really. Like, they have 3 MVPs. They were stacked. They had a better record than the Yankees. That's why they got home field advantage. So to lose to the Dodgers and come out and say we were better than them, they weren't better than us, I can't co-sign that.
Okay, so what about if we would have won that game on game 1? If we would have won that game on game 5, we're going to take the would game.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. If my wife would have told me to go scratch, I wouldn't have had this baby.
That's true. I mean, probably I'm being biased, bro, and trust me, by you saying I seen the post that you did on the buckets and on people, Keith, that's nothing, bro. Me as a diehard Yankees fan, bro, living and putting up with these fans, bro.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, bro. Last time they sent me my cousin sent me in a group chat with my cousin. and I'm the only Yankee fan. I guess a guy had the truck sticker on behind the truck or the bases. I think it was a Fox.
Yeah, the score bug.
Yeah, bro. I was like, bro, these people. All right, you guys had happy day, happy year.
Yankees up 5, Dodgers 0, 5th inning. That's the score bug that they've printed out to make like a bumper sticker for cars in LA. It's sick.
But at the end of the day, bro, I'm a with the classic birds. Hey, you guys will never catch up. We still on top, bro. And I'm cool with how things there, man. You know, hopefully, you know, with the Dodgers spending a lot, they better just, you know, stay healthy.
But see, but Jonathan, that's why fans are mad, because Hal is saying that they weren't better than us, blah, blah, blah. But then look what they did after beating you in the World Series. They stack the deck. They go out and sign Blake Snell. They bring in Michael Conforto. They get it Roki Sasaki, Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates. They bring Teoscar back. They are better than you. You just got to admit it. They're better at you at everything.
One thing, Keith, those players actually wanted to sign with the Dodgers, and when no one else. Look at Tanner Scott. I heard rumors that the Red Sox and I think the Cubs were offering top money, and he took lower money to go with the Dodgers. That thing is like the 2012 Miami Heat. They just wanted
to again, bro. They are in beautiful Los Angeles where you are. The weather is much better than it is out here. They have a renovated ballpark. They have the #1 attendance. There are models out there. There are influencer chicks out there. It is great to be a LA Dodger. They can sell them on so many things. Hey, we'll invest this money for you. Hey, we'll kick the can down the road. We'll defer all this money. We'll give you a bigger bonus. You want to play with Shohei Ohtani? You want to play with Mookie Betts, who's got 3 rings? You want to play with Freddie Freeman, who's got 2 rings?
Yeah, man. You know what? At the end of the day, you can't be mad at that. And I'm not one of those fans that's going to be mad because they're signing everyone. No. And also, one more thing, bro, before I let you go. All these fans calling in, I heard another show. Oh, Frank Bregman, Tiger makes all these kind of stupid deals. All right, bro, what about 2 years from now, a year from now? We were going to be dying trying to get rid of those contracts. I think Hal Cashman did what they had to do. I'm cool with my squad, bro. I'm cool with the rotation. I can't wait what Dominguez is going to bring, the Martin is going to bring to this lineup. And let's see, I'll go to, you know, I'm cool with my dogs, bro. Other than that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Jonathan Bash calling from LA, Yankee fans. They came out here for the DS. I'll see you guys opening day. Run it. I'm cool with this lineup. I'm cool with this rotation. I'm cool with this bullpen. When I say I'm cool, I mean I'm content right now. This is not going to be the team in the World Series. The Yankees team that they played with in the World Series was not the team this time last year. 888-808-1019. And I did go back to my notes. I never said anything about the Chiefs blowing out the Texans. And I have some stuff from my notes that I'll hit you with when we come back. It's wide open. We're halfway through my 5-hour KM to AM sports talk show on The Fan. This is Keith McPherson. I'll be right back. All right, yo. Let's see. Who's on the show tonight? Me. Let's see. Saquon was the best running back for the Giants. Tiki was the best. Let's see. Hard to listen to this man. Yeah, you're probably hard for me to tell you the truth about Saquon. The truth is always hard to listen to. If I was a fan of a team that traded away a generational, or not traded away, let a generational talent walk away without trading for him and tried to save face and say, oh, we weren't ready to win. Please, you weren't ready to win when you won that playoff game 2 years ago with him. The guy said he wanted to be here. You didn't want to pay him because there's some kind of stupid book that Joe Shane lives off of where he devalued a running back and he didn't look at all the other intangibles. This guy's a freak. This guy's touched by the hand of God, right? This guy was the number 2 overall pick for a reason. They should have done more to build around him. Keith, do you think the New Jersey Devils, the Duke Blue Devils, and the Arizona State Sun Devils ever get together? The Duke Blue Devils and Arizona State Sun Devils, yeah, I guarantee you they've played multiple different college sports against each other. Should the Nets go for that Kings guy? Absolutely not. Start the rebuild? No, excuse me. Let me talk about this for a second, actually. The Nets need to tank all the way, and they need to not screw up the tank. They are now in the bottom 5. If you go to tankathon.com, there are 3 players at the top of this draft. Speaking of the Duke Blue Devils, right? They could potentially get Cooper Flag. We do not need to rebuild right now. We do not need to be thinking about rebuilding right now. Damn, I don't even have a hair tie. They need to continue to lose, let the lottery ball bounce wherever it may, and live to fight another day. I do not want them giving up any picks, and I know they've got a ton of second-round picks for De'Aaron Fox. That's the Kings guy. You are funny, Keith. You know, you got to mix in a little bit of humor, right? You know, I can't do too many ventriloquist voices. I could do Jerry Jones. I can't do too many impressions. You know, I got in trouble for doing an impression one time. Yeah. But I know I have a slight sense of humor, and you got to. It's entertainment. It's got to be fun. Vinny Carbone says, the Yankees are a joke. Joke's on you. They were in the World Series last year, and they reloaded. Lefty Diggy says, salute, BK style. Salute, bro. I know I use this channel. See, I'm live on Twitch. I'm live on Twitter. I'm live on Instagram. I'm live on YouTube. This is a test, right? I'm obviously also live on WFAN. This is a test to, you know, start adding a video component to my show. But I used to go live on this channel and do the Talking Nets podcast. So I know there's a lot of you that are probably like, yo, where's the Nets podcast? It's tough to do a podcast on a team that loses every night. It's tough to do a podcast on a team that's tanking. That's not fun. When I used to do the episodes of Talking Nets, I never wanted to do an episode and talk about 3 games. It was always like 2 games. And I used to hate when we had to talk about back-to-back losses. So why would I be doing that now? I'm not. 888-808-1019 if you are trying to call the fan. What day? Thursday. Making some plans, whatnot. Let's see. Trying to JMU Dukes. How about them JMU Dukes? That's another JMU first down. Dukes. Keith, it's been 2 years since Rick Wolf died. Oh wow. Is today the anniversary of Rick Wolf passing? Let me look that up. Rick Wolf, WFAN. Today is not the anniversary of Rick Wolf passing. From what I'm seeing, that's supposed to be April 10th. So I don't know about that. All right, here we go. Right back at it. New York, the city that never sleeps. Got a 5-hour nighttime show halfway through. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Thanks for calling. Thanks for watching. I'm streaming live on actually all of my social platforms for the first time ever. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, so it's nice for people to be able to get a look as well. And I just hit the chat to kind of, talk back to folks that I can't talk back to when I'm also streaming live on the free Odyssey app, live on air. So let's get back to the calls, man. We're talking about everything. It's wide open. I try to keep it that way. I think last night I took a call and someone's like, man, I like how you kind of just lay everything out and you let people call up and weigh in. And I'm like, yeah, at least in my mind, the whole thing is like an after hours hangout party. After all the news of the day, after all the daytime shows, after all the structure of the day, we kind of just hang out at night. And there's just a spread of sports topics, a buffet, you could say. And you come up, take what you like. You kind of wait in line by calling WFAN and kind of waiting for your turn and, weigh in on anything that we said. You might agree or disagree, or you might have a take that we haven't heard yet. So let's get back to it. Call me up right now. We're going to go to Lou in Astoria. Welcome back. You're on the Fan.
How are you? Thank you for taking the call.
I'm good. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, last week you got me short because I was talking about Barkley, that he should be that to the MVP, that he should have went for that record, that that he shouldn't. I mean, that's why you got to give the MVP. He stopped. He didn't go for the record. Try to win a Super Bowl. I mean, the 2 quarterbacks that are supposed to, even if you're a quarterback, I know that you go down.
Yeah, it's a quarterback award. What was the last running back to win it?
But the 2 quarterbacks are supposed to be for the MVP. They're playing golf right now. Okay, so I'm just letting you know that. Anyway, let me go on the cheating scandal. What's going on? The reason why Altuve's going to get it's going to go to the Hall of Fame because let's get this clear here, okay? And
What I got to do is bring my mic so you guys can hear the calls louder.
Home better than at home, okay? By a lot, by 75 points, okay? And talking about Judge, I mean, you know, if you can hear the playoff, we wouldn't be talking about that. Oh, the cheating scandal, okay? How about us, okay? Our Yankees, it took 3 years to reveal the open letter, which will be technically cheating as well, and at least the
Small fries. And Judge being able to hit in the postseason, that doesn't change the fact that they cheated all the way to the World Series.
the same way. MVP, he went to play against the Astros, and most of the games they will play at home, he couldn't do nothing.
I was there. Yeah, I know.
You can excuse to it, brother.
It's not excuses. They had a clear advantage, Lou. You got to go again. You got to get cut off again. What are you talking about, Brody? Adrian Peterson winning the MVP? They're not going to give Saquon the MVP. Maybe he can get Offensive Player of the Year like Christian McCaffrey did at running back, but it's a quarterback award now. I know Lamar Jackson is at home. I know he got bounced last round, but when you look at what he did, throwing the ball, rushing the ball, his touchdowns to interceptions, he's going to win. And Josh Allen's going to be the runner-up. And no, there is no world where Nick Sirianni and the Eagles say, yeah, go ahead, Saquon. Go for the record against the Giants. Because if he sprains his MCL in the first quarter and they don't get here, everybody's fired. You never live that down. You don't do that. It's not about individual awards, which that award would have been for the 5 guys on the offensive line and Saquon, really for the whole team. But they didn't go for it because the goal is to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, and look where they are. 888-808-1019. I don't know what we're talking about as far as like the Astros cheated, the end. And Judge, okay, yeah, I guess you can put it on Judge. Judge is one guy. Judge is one guy. We can put on Judge. If Judge would have just been the MVP and hit another 50 home runs in the postseason that year, the Yankees win the World Series, and we don't care about the cheating. No, we would have cared still. They didn't just cheat the Yankees. That was the ALCS. Like I mentioned, Dodgers fans care too. Dodgers fans feel like they were cheated out of a World Series. Who'd they beat before? They beat the Royals in the DS before the Yankees that year. I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. All that matters is we were even talking about this because of the Hall of Fame and projecting down the line X amount of years when Jose Altuve is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it'll be so far in the rear view that they were banging on a trash can, strumming on a street light that no one's going to care, and that's not right. That's not right. But meanwhile, guys will miss their opportunity with the 10-year window, and then the Errors Committee has to write them in. The Veterans Committee has to write them in, right? Guys that didn't do steroids, just, writers didn't feel like you were a Hall of Famer, but like Scott Rowland is in the Hall of Fame. And I don't mean to throw Scott Rowland under a bus, but that was just so random last year. I'm like, Scott Rowland? Anyway, 888-808-1019. Moose is in Jamaica on the Fan next.
Yeah, Keith, what is it?
You're
Chilling. So yeah, want to echo Jonathan in terms of my optimism for the season. And we discussed this previous about them not doing anything extra for the time being at third or second with regards to the one hole people may see in the roster. And it echoes back to the whole business aspect you've been communicating, I've been listening to, that, you know, since your show started, with the Yankees want a finely tuned machine where they can sign free agents in the future, keep their own homegrown talent. What are we going to do when Volpe develops into a 20-20, 30-30 guy who bats 270 for the order? Wells another year can be a 20-70 RBI guy, clutch.
That's the plan, right? You hope they take a step forward this year. Go on.
And obviously we have to see what's in Oswaldo as well as what's in Oswald. D-Hill may use money coming off the books. Stanton will be cheaper. So we have to just have optimism that they pay nerds to plan out their future of the organization.
Yo, tell Richard I'm not going to talk about the Knicks, bro.
Even more so, they have to let the plan unfurl and have contingencies, and we're seeing that now. As much as I would love to sign Soto, because him and Judge is a can't miss proposition, but we have to be more cost efficient as to what we.
They tried. I can't even hold that against them as far as being cost efficient. They had a $760 million deal out there for Soto.
Yeah, and it may not make sense to them to do that, but they had to show that he's worth keeping. But to finish off my point, I look for Oswaldo to have a really solid season if he does win the job and we don't pick up somebody else. Dominguez, him.
There's a lot to look forward to. If you're a Yankee fan watching this team materialize, these new faces, these young guys, there's a lot to look forward to and to be happy about. Thanks for the call, Moose. 888-808-1019. But this is the Yankee fans. This is the Yankee universe. The greatest rivalry in baseball is Yankee fans versus other Yankee fans. There will never be peace. Mets fans think that they're our rivals. No, Yankee fans just want to argue with other Yankee fans. It's never good enough. Never good enough until they win the World Series. And then even after they find a way to do that, I'm sure there's going to be something. Oh, they let this guy go to free agency. They didn't bring this guy back. That's what happens. You know, speaking of that, I'm really hoping that the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and, I don't know, they start losing players. Let Travis Kelce retire. Chris Jones, you retire too. They're not going to be able to bring back all these receivers. And, you know, a couple callers ago, I had a caller say that, oh, you know, you said that the Chiefs are going to blow out the Texans. I know I didn't say that. And I went back to my notes. I remember having a conversation after they beat them. And NFL on CBS put out a few stats. The Texans had more yards than the Chiefs. The Texans had more first downs than the Chiefs. The Texans ran more plays than the Chiefs. The Texans led in time of possession. The Texans had 9 drives. The Chiefs also had 9 drives. The Texans had 0 turnovers. The Chiefs also had 0 turnovers, but the Chiefs won 23-14. That is the type of game they like to play. A one-score game, a close game, like that is the type of game they like to play. And the games that people like to play is, oh, the refs did it. Oh, the refs helped them out. Okay. Help yourself out. Blow them out. Score points. You're not beating the Chiefs scoring 14. You're not beating the Chiefs scoring 29 because they have Patrick Mahomes. They have enough weapons. They have a great play caller. They have a great play call on both sides of the ball. Enough already. If you were a Chiefs fan, you'd be so happy with the team. Enough with complaining about the refs. Enough talking about the Texans didn't stand a chance. They knew it. The Chiefs knew it. We all knew it. And the Bills, as much as I was rooting for the Bills, I remember week 17, so there's nothing left to do but root for the Bills. I knew that the Chiefs were going to get their get back. The Bills beat them in Buffalo in the regular season, and I said, oh, this is just setting up for them to beat them on the way to the Super Bowl. And watching that game, which is on the TV right now, why'd they go away from James Cook? You're beating yourself, right? Why is it hero ball with Josh Allen all the time? You got multiple receivers. Joe Brady's not taking a job elsewhere. Man, dial it up. Just give the Chiefs their props. It's football. It is hard to be as dominant as they are in the NFL. It is that we're even witnessing this. We may never see this again. We've never seen it before. The fact that they can do this is crazy. So instead of hating on it and trying to point to officiating and it's saying it's rigged, no, they've got a ton of talent over there. They've got a ton of belief over there. They've got great coaching over there. We need some more of that over here in New York. 888-808-1019. Hopefully Aaron Glenn can figure that out. If you listen to me talk about Aaron Glenn last night, my whole thing with Aaron Glenn is like, okay, it is great to win the press conference. And everybody's going to tell you winning the press conference doesn't mean anything. And you've seen a bunch of guys do that. It is time to build your staff. I was almost screaming it into the microphone last night. The sense of urgency needed for Darren Moogie and AG to build their staff, because all around you, right, the two coaches you're going to be compared to, Ben Johnson, he's building a phenomenal staff. Mike Vrabel is also working on building his staff. Time is of the essence. I like the quote where Aaron Glenn says he wants to be the best coach that he can be. And in order for him to do that, he needs to manage the game. So he's going to find an OC and find a DC. But, that dude Kaylee is taking interviews. I hear rumors about Steve Wilkes. Start hiring these guys fast. All the conversation today about Aaron Rodgers, what is there to talk about? He told you. He was in communication with Aaron Rodgers. They text him. They're going to see. It's not about Aaron Rodgers. It's about the roster. If Aaron Rodgers wants to play another year for the Jets, they would definitely have him because the dead cap is ridiculous. They're not going to shoo him away. They're not going to try and cut ties for morale or say this is a new era without Aaron Rodgers. He's the stopgap quarterback. He's the bridge quarterback. He's their best option at quarterback. I heard people calling about Jordan Travis. You have no idea what he is. Tyrod Taylor, we do know what he is, and it doesn't inspire much. They got to hire the right offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and get word from Aaron Rodgers whether he has to go out to Denver for another psychedelic drug convention or go to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca or Egypt or go to a darkness retreat with no Wi-Fi and no light. Whatever it is, Aaron Rodgers, let them know so that they can start building out their roster, building out their staff. When we come back, I'll read some of the names of Ben Johnson over in Chicago and the staff that he's putting together. It's brilliant already, in my opinion. And then even Mike Vrabel, who's not wasting any time building his staff. Those three guys are connected, really connected to Aaron Glenn. Ben Johnson, who was with him, obviously with the Lions and got hired at the same time, and Mike Vrabel, who is in division and another player going back to play for the team that drafted him. This is Keith McPherson on The Fan. Join the show, 888-808-1019. We'll be right back. I'm trying to get this glare to go away, yo. This is system overload. Almost 1,000 people watching across platforms. Thanks. I'm gonna do this more, but it's a lot to spit out all the information I'm spitting out, take calls, go to my notes. But I just know the importance of having visuals, video component, and connecting to all of you guys on the internet. Appreciate you for watching, for following. Even if you're a hater watching and you're like, this guy sucks, you're watching. Appreciate it. It's all something. It all adds to the greater sum of what I'm trying to do here. So, I mean, if you're on YouTube, Twitch, whatever, make sure you're subscribed, like the video, whatever platform you're on. Kind of doing a soft launch this week of the website. Kind of doing a soft launch to just like a lot of different things that I got working, a lot of things that are going on. Let me see if I can. Okay, I do that, and then this light, like, see this light right here? It's like streak right here. Anyway, website, merch, YouTube channel, events, live speaking, games, live streams, a lot of different things coming up this year on top of the radio show. So I said during the break I would get back to the chat. Now I'm just checking. I'm like, all right, I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on Twitterer. I'm live everywhere. This is cool. So using the StreamYard platform, you can do that. I don't have much set up though. This is kind of just a test drive. Let me create a banner. Thanks for watching. Not done. Show. Let's check some questions. Only problem is hearing the caller. Yeah. So my audio that you're getting, it's my MacBook microphone, and then I have this main like monitor in here.
When you're in the thick of
So you can hear the radio.
Harbor Freight is the place that
What-
always comes in.
What I'm gonna do is get a microphone. Well, I have a microphone at home, but I'm gonna get a microphone that I can rig up, put up there, and it'll be loud, and I won't have to blast the monitor. I feel like one time I was doing this, and I had the monitor on so high, and like when I go to break, it's like, and it like blew out the speaker. Let's see. You're doing good, bro. Thanks. Trying to just juggle all of this. It is a lot, but I've gotten used to it, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know. It's a breeze. Doing a 5-hour radio show, doing the internet stuff, weaving in and out of topics. I'm blessed to get the opportunity to show my talent and do this type of stuff. So, yeah. The party is on X, Keith. Yeah, let me see if I can go to X and see how many people are actually watching on X. It says 960 views. But I know those aren't only from Twitter because I'm across platforms right now. Ross in Bergen County. What up, Ross? I first thing I did was look at the screen to see if Ross was on hold yet. Let's see. Keith tried to get me into basketball a few years ago when he was with Jimmy. That didn't take. Nets suck. Yeah. The vision was KD, Kyrie, the Brooklyn Nets being contenders for longer than they were. How short-lived was that? Yo, Joey, what up? Hope you're doing well. I'm blessed, highly favored, man. Let me know if you're going out to the Pinstripe Pride event at American Dream over the weekend. I'll be there all 3 days. The Tank, really enjoy listening to you. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Don't tell me, go tell a friend to tell a friend. Who you think NYG is drafting? Shador. They need a quarterback. I think they find a way. I think they absolutely find a way to get Shador. Cashman rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. I used to have that T-shirt, and then I think I threw it away one year. I was mad at Cash. Keith McPherson, another fan. Shout out to RotoWear. They used to have this T-shirt that said "Cream, Cashman rules everything around me." And I don't know if you're in Yankee Stadium, it's a good shirt to wear. But I forget what happened with the Yankees, where I was like. And shout out to Brian Cashman. I'm cool with Cash. I'll see Cash this weekend at the Pinstripe Pride event. But I was like, I'm never wearing this shirt again. I got to go back to like my tweets or something. I was like, either somebody we didn't sign or something that the Yankees did. Or I was like, man, I'm not repping Cashman like that. 888-808-1019. Let's talk to these Yankee fans that are on hold. See what you guys got. Young Jack in Queens. Hello, you're on.
Hey, Keith.
Hey, Jack.
What do you think the Yankees should get, a second baseman or a third baseman?
I think at the trade deadline, they're going to come to terms with the fact that they need another bat or could use another bat, and they're going to check on third base. But after hearing Aaron Boone today on the Fan, Jazz Chisholm's playing second base. Thanks for the call, Jack. Jazz Chisholm's playing second base, and they're going to let these guys compete for third base. And in this order is the order that I'm expecting it to be, because this is what Boone said: Oswaldo Cabrera, DJ LeMahieu, and maybe a dark horse candidate in Oswald Peraza. If he can stay healthy, if he can hit. I mean, kind of crazy to think that this guy was your starting shortstop in the 2022 ALCS, and we just haven't really heard from him. He hasn't been consistent enough. He hasn't been there enough, but he'll be there in the spring. 2 years ago, the 2023 season opened, and he got to compete for the shortstop spot with IKF and Volpe. He'll get a chance to compete again at third base. Competition is good. Right? Competition brings out the best in competitors. I'm a very competitive person. I always want to compete. I always want to prove it. I always I love a challenge. I love people saying, oh, this guy's better than you or this. You're like, all right, maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. You got to show me. You got to beat me. You got to prove it to me. And I'm always down to show up and prove it. So with the Yankees going into camp, show up and prove it, DJ. Are you healthy? Can you still hit? Are you a shell of yourself? Or do we still have the DJ LeMahieu in there that Yankee fans loved in 2020 and 2019. Cabrera, Yankee fans love you. I love the way he salutes the bleacher creatures with the grenade, throwing it to 203. I love how clutch he is. I love that he plays all these different positions with a smile on his face. Get the bat going consistently. Maybe you're the everyday third baseman and not a utility guy. Peraza, what's up, man? You see all these young guys that you came up with getting the opportunity from Volpe, Wells, Luis Gil, Dominguez. Here's your chance. Beat them out in camp. Jazz will be at second base, and we learned Bellinger's going to be the center fielder, and they're going to really try to get Dominguez up to speed in left field, and I'm okay with that. I think they have a good team. Forgive me, Yankee fans, for thinking that coming off a World Series, they have the best team in the American League, even after losing the World Series and losing Juan Soto. Let's go to Alex in Linden, New Jersey. Alex, you're live.
Yeah, Keith, it's been a minute, man. I switched locations with work, so I'm out a lot earlier now. That's why you see me complaining about that Nets post game on Twitter. Sometimes you're not on yet, and I'm not used to this early schedule versus getting out at midnight. But it's nice to finally be able to.
Shout out to Capper and Carino and the Brooklyn Nets post game. I'll be in here patiently waiting to go.
Yeah, man. And before I start my call about Stroman, happy birthday to our boy Joey, a.k.a. Patches 203. Everybody loves Joey. He is one of the nicest guys.
Oh, I'm lacking. I'm going to text Joey right now. Patches is Joe Bobby. I got to hit up Joey Sullivan. Happy birthday to you, bro. Bleacher Creature legend. I got to hit him right now. I didn't check the Bleacher Creature chat all day.
He is just that guy, man. Everyone loves Joey. So that being said, Stroman, the only thing that upsets me is if the rumors are true that they're not going to make a move for even like a John Birdie type guy that they do every year until this money clears with Stroman, if they can clear anything. And this hard cap that they keep, going off of, is it 301? Excuse me if I don't know the exact number. It's just a little aggravating, and hence why I'm just leaning into the Knicks as much as I can right now, because until baseball starts, I don't know about you, man. This seems like the longest offseason we've had in a really long time. I feel like Soto's been a Met for 6 months now, and we're still, a good 6 weeks away, right?
It's
Talk baseball, right?
understood, Alex. You're the man. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the call. It does feel like a long off season because you're coming off of playing in the World Series, and there's an itch to get back and right the wrongs, right? Think about how that last game for the Yankee season, like you heard Hal talk about, this hurts worse than 82-80. Yeah, because 82-80, I remember being on the Fan. I got off the roller coaster July 17th. I told you I was done with the season. I knew they weren't making the postseason. Can't reel me in July 17th. I was on the Fan after they went to Colorado and lost to the Rockies. I remember they tried to cook up some story about, the Yankees maybe coulda, shoulda, woulda, traded for Ohtani. Ohtani's going to be in the trade conversations of perhaps and maybe and all this other stuff. I'm like, this is Yankees for clicks. This team's not trading for Ohtani. They're cooked. They find ways to lose. The sign of a bad team is how they lose games to other bad teams. I'm done. And then they go get Juan Soto in the offseason. They come out of the gate beating the Astros, and they win the American League. They win the American League East. They're the number 1 seed, and you get all the way to the World Series. And here we are just waiting, right? You lose Juan Soto. So now you're waiting to see how Juan Soto does, how the Mets do. You're waiting to see what this new team looks like with Max Fried and Cody Bellinger and Devin Williams and Fernando Cruz and Jonathan Loaizaga coming back and Paul Goldschmidt at first base. But we've got 2 weeks until it really starts to cook up again. And yeah, if the Knicks help you pass the time, if football helps you pass the time, that's good. But we are this close to getting back into the Yankee season, and I'm not going to be down on the team or be mad at Hal Steinbrenner or Aaron Boone or Brian Cashman after getting to the World Series and having a good chance to get back. 888-808-1019. KM to AM returns right after this. Yo, we got a bunch of followers watching. We got almost 12 hundo out here now. 12 hundo is a good number for real. About to flex on them. Ooh. Commercial break to hit the Flit X. Oh, no. They had to flex on them for no reason, just to remind them as we get to close to 12 hundo. Your boy KM on the Fan, you heard? Let's see here. My freaking headphone broke off. That's a sign. Let me see some. I like to wear these like lighter ones, especially if I get like a video cut from WFAN. I don't like to wear the big headphones. Shout out to Panasonic. They sent me these Technique headphones. Shout out to any of my DJs watching. That's another thing. You're going to see me DJ on this live stream. I'm back. I got the turntable set up in my room. I got the lighting. I got Serato on this computer. It's a brand new MacBook. Like we really coming through with it this year. But anyway, these headphones are my DJ headphones. But I cracked these Jones. I had to glue them back, like right here. I usually don't wear them, but I'm gonna wear them now. Since I broke these, they're noise canceling, and like I don't know, this is like radio stuff for you guys. You'll never get over the sound of your own voice. I don't know. Some people love the way their own voice sounds. I know when I first started doing this, I hated my voice. And now people are like, you have a great voice. I love your voice. I'm like, thanks. But you'll never get over the sound of your own voice because your voice comes out here and your ears are here. You don't hear your voice the same way everyone else does. So when I'm listening like this and talking into the mic, I'm getting my own voice in my headphones and it just like it skews me out. I need to do the show like this. Like, I need to hear my voice out loud and not in my own ear because it just bugs me out. It trips me out, yo. It's just not something that I like. I like doing a radio. I like, rocking or whatever, but that's something, I remember, giving advice to people. They're like, how do you get over the sound of your own voice? I'm like, you don't. Unless you're just a sociopath and think that your voice is amazing, or unless you actually have a really nice voice. Sound of your own voice is something that you'll never hear your own voice the right way. Anyway, you go, Keith. Flex some more. All right, hey, since Pam asked, Pam, like my number one supporter, you can try to get by, but you get trapped. Oh, that boy been lifting. That boy been in the gym on a New Year's resolution. All right, let me see. Need baseball back, man. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Jason makes me nervous in left field, to be fair. Listen, that's okay. You're going off of a small sample size from last year. He's got this whole offseason to rep it. He's got all the spring training to rep it. If the Yankees are okay with him playing left field over Cody Bellinger, then I got to be okay with it too. I'll be there Saturday. Shoot you a text later on. Bet I'll be there Saturday as well. Actually, that just reminded me to hit my boy Joey from the Bleacher Creatures. Say happy birthday, bro. Let's see. I'm not reading all that. My boy Jay Schmeez text me, right? He says, Stevie Wonder to these haters. Bro, I'm live on air. Why would you text me somebody's whole long-ass paragraph, probably like Keith McPherson sucks. Here's my take on Keith McPherson. Who cares? Nobody cares about your take on Reddit. But my boy Schmeez knows I get a kick out of the haters, the Reddit takes and the Facebook takes. But, like, don't text me that while I'm on the air. You like, yeah, I'm about to hear some random person I'll never meet or see write a whole essay about how terrible I am at the radio. That's what the internet's for, right? I got a full rack of calls. I've got 1,252 people watching the live, but I'm terrible at radio, and someone's got to write 2 paragraphs on Reddit about it.
Brought to you by Hard Rock Bet. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and roll with us. Yankees very active in the offseason after Juan Soto exited for Queens, but with all the additions, still got some question marks. None bigger than what happens at second and third. Aaron Boone with our own BT and Sal here on the Fan. So the Yankees seem to be looking at in-house options at third, putting Jazz back in his natural position at second. We'll see if that's how the Bombers enter spring training. 3 goals in 3 minutes of ice time, spanning the end of the second, beginning of the third. Then in the Rangers, they were blanked by the Hurricanes 4-0. Igor Shesterkin, 22 saves. Blue Shirts now dropping back to back games after they put together a 10-game scoring streak. Islanders looking to finish off the Avalanche, a 3-2 advantage, 2:32 remaining there. And St. John suffocated Georgetown 66-41. 35 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park, and that's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
All right. Inside the 10 p.m. hour on the Fan in New York, your nighttime host, Keith McPherson, talking sports, taking calls, and passing the time on a Tuesday. Got the club going up. I mentioned the Knicks because Alex is a big Knicks fan, Bleacher Creature, and definitely does not rock with the Nets. And, the last call I took, he's like, I'm always listening to the end of the Nets post game, like, get this over so Keith can come on. And I said, yo, whatever you need, whatever's got to get you through the winter. I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm a Nets fan, but, like, I don't know. How can you be a Nets fan right now besides, like, actively? Like, you have to actively root for them to lose. And like I don't know how to like watch games and be like, yeah, like root for the other team unless it's like I don't know, I can't do it. So like I'll watch a little bit of a Nets game and I'm just like, there's random guys on the team and they're losing games, whatever. But I mentioned the Knicks and I see we have some Knicks calls. Yankee fans, Pete Alonso fans, Mets fans. Hold on, we'll give the Knicks a second. And what I said about the Knicks earlier in the show, kind of just um, trying to slow some of the Knicks fans down because, of course, they come out back-to-back games. They score 143 points. The defense is there. The bench is looking deeper. I'm just like, proceed with caution. It started to look good in January of last year. It's a long way to get to April of this year. Let's see what you guys are thinking about the New York Knicks. Richard is in Manhattan. Richard, you're on the Fan.
Keith, before I get to the Knicks, let me just say a couple of things. The Nets, retiring Vince Carter's jersey. I'll give you five. I've followed the Nets since the inception, 67, 68. They were the New Jersey New Jersey Americans in the old Teaneck Armory, which I think is still there in Teaneck. Anyway, the four Nets that should have had their numbers retired before Vince Carter. Rick Barry brought us to the championship game in the old ABA. Larry Keenan, that was Julius Irving's running mate at forward. He was great. And either Kenyon Martin or Richard Jefferson, they were more influential than Vince Carter.
Yeah, I think with Vince, it was about where he stands with some of the all-time records, where he stands with these current fans. And, the Nets were slow to embrace a lot of the roots from New Jersey when they came over to Brooklyn, and they've made up for that. And, in his prime, he came to the New Jersey Nets. He never played a game in Brooklyn, but they retired his jersey in Brooklyn, and a lot of people came out to see it, and it's fine. I was with it. He just hit the Hall of Fame. He got his jersey retired in Toronto. I was very vocal about him not being on the NBA top 75 players, so good for Vince. And he's great. He's a pro's pro. He's a class act. He's great on TV. He's great on the broadcast, and I don't mind giving a guy his flowers while he can smell them. But shout out to the other guys you mentioned as well.
He went back to North Carolina after he finished his playing career to get his college degree. He promised his mother, Vince Carter did, and he got his college degree. As far as Mahomes and Andy Reid are the two.
So we're going to talk about the Knicks.
Mahomes reminds me of Derek Jeter, Tom Brady, and Jason Kidd. They're just smarter than the other players out there. That's all I can say. They balls, they know how to, it was like Jason Kidd throwing the soda on the court to make sure he got.
Well, that wasn't smart. I would say more like Kobe, MJ. No, it was it was as if there were no cameras in there. I give the nod to Mahomes, even like Steph Curry. He's got that killer instinct. He's a winner, and he's unflappable.
Greatest play a pro ever made in any game was not an athletic feat. Now, you don't know this, but I'll tell it to you. The 1976 playoffs, Boston Celtics, Phoenix Suns. Charlie Scott hits a free throw for Boston. They're up by 2. There's no way with 1 second left, Phoenix can inbound the ball. They have no timeouts and go the whole length of the court. Again, there were no 3-point plays at that time. So what they do, Paul Westphal on Phoenix calls a timeout, knowing they don't have a timeout. No, they were down by 1, Boston. Boston was up by 1. So he calls the timeout. It's a technical foul. He knows that. Boston gets the technical and hits it. So now they're up by 2, but Phoenix is allowed to inbound the ball under the Boston basket or at the sideline. And Phoenix gets the ball, inbounds, and Garfield Hurd hits a 2-pointer, which would have been a 3 if they had it. That was the last year. And it tied the game. They ended up losing the game in overtime.
Thanks for the call, Richard. That was riveting. I just got to move it along. Appreciate you, man. I know you were holding for a while. But the whole thing was we were going to talk about the Knicks. Man. We did everything but talk about that. I queued you up so we could get the Knicks conversation going. We got the history lesson. We're comparing Mahomes to Jason Kidd as a coach, spilling a soda.
About how concerned he was with the Knicks defense. And now if he was the Knicks,
he would actually trade Karl Anthony Towns straight up for Hartenstein. He thinks that's how important Hartenstein was to the defense and everything that they're doing, that he would straight up trade Cat for Isaiah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam Presti's about to call up. Say, sure, yeah, run it. We'll take Cat and we'll send you iHeart back. Yeah, what? Yeah, I don't know, man. What are we doing? Let's talk to another Knicks fan, potentially about the Knicks. Joshua in Bergenfield, New Jersey. You're on.
I promise I'm going to talk about the Knicks. Don't worry.
All right.
I just want to thank you guys, though. This is I'm first time caller ever any radio show. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really mean it. So I'm gonna go straight to it. I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna get your input on it, right? As a media professional, why, at least I feel like the Knicks get no respect. I feel that we could go to the finals, right? I'm not saying that will happen, but if it would happen, we'd go to the finals. Let's say that we win a championship. And I feel like the media still doesn't really give us the time of the day. If I am not mistaken, the biggest trade within the season was Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle and DiVincenzo. And that probably got, 3 minutes in any show? So to me, it's like baffling because we are New York, right? I know that the Knicks have had their issues and all of it, but we are growing and the fan base is wild right now.
Okay.
Hear from you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. One, like you said, we are New York. There's always a little bit of jealousy. There's also a little bit of bias, right? We hear it the other way around, right? There's a New York bias in other sports and other teams. I think when it comes to the Knicks, they have been a laughing stock for so long that they aren't taken seriously. Like, seriously, the Knicks fans are all about it, believe that they're a championship caliber team. I've jokingly said they're going to be another second round exit. When you listen to these shows, they don't believe in the Knicks. They do not believe that the Knicks are of the upper echelon in the NBA. They think they're a good team, but it's like, believe it when we see it. So until it happens, it hasn't happened. And I think to get that respect too, in this NBA, I talked a lot about the fact that they have now put this team together strictly off of trades and free agency. It isn't a homegrown team. It isn't built through the draft. I talked about Jalen Brunson and how, the little guy doesn't win, as far as the little point guard, and how they have a recipe for stopping him. But I think Karl Anthony Towns certainly helps that. The Mikal Bridges trade was huge. I think they got some attention for the Karl Anthony Towns trade and the Mikal Bridges trade. But until they are a dominant force, until they are a number one seed, until they actually do break through and get to an Eastern Conference Finals, win the finals, then, they're not going to get any respect. It's been years since 73 since the Knicks won a championship. You got to win. You can't just be competitive because there's a rotation of teams in the NBA that are competitive that they rather talk about than New York, who sells out every game, who's got a ton of fans and all of this hype, right? They mock New York. They laugh at New York because the fans are outside after they get eliminated by the Pacers chanting Knicks in 8. And they're like, yeah, no, you were never like that.
So you don't think it has to do with star power?
You have the only 2 starters from the same team in this year's All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
That's star power. At least they gave Brunson his respect that he's earned over these last couple of years. Cat has always been a star and a top pick, right? And it's also a little bit of a change from last year's team, which was the misfits put together, or the underdogs, right? The underdog story. None of these guys were lottery picks. None of these guys were top prospects. But look at how gritty they are. Look at how the coach has them playing. Now it's like, okay, Mikal Bridges was a top pick. Karl Anthony Towns was, now it's kind of shifting to okay, this is a team with stars. This is a team with talent, but they have to see it through and get it done before they get the respect. You got, respect is earned. They're not just going to give you the respect because of the names. There's a lot of people rooting for the Knicks to fail here in New York as well.
Wow. Brother, thank you so much for that, because I think I do understand what you're saying. It kind of hurts because it's like seeing the rise of a hero. And obviously, every time we get close, something happens. I know that we're missing a little bit of depth and, the bench and all that. but I do think that we are onto something. I know that the guys are playing a lot of minutes, a lot of crazy minutes, but sometimes I want to talk about this, right? I want to talk about the Knicks, and I want to hear about the Knicks, and I usually don't hear anything about it, and it's frustrating because
on the fan or just like on TV or where?
To be honest, in general, and I think all
Yeah, they got to win. They got to actually win. Thank you for your first call, Joshua. They have to win. I always talk about how much we talk about the Jets and Giants too much for no reason. Two teams that don't win anything, but every single day we got a storyline to talk about them. It's New York. They have to win. The Knicks have to get out of the second round. We have crowned them as champions. They're second round champions. You know, we have made them more than they actually are because they haven't been good. And I think it's hilarious. Like the same Yankee fans that have this bar for the Yankees that are in the postseason every year, that did get to the World Series. That's not good enough. But for the Knicks, hey, just multiple, back-to-back appearances in the second round. Go New York, go New York, go. The Knicks are back, baby. It's just like the rest of the world doesn't have to feel that way. The rest of the NBA world doesn't have to put that respect on the Knicks. But like we do. We do. And there will come a time here. There will be a window here where when the playoffs come, and I know it because I was on the fan, when the Knicks are playing in the playoffs every night, like WFAN will turn into a Knicks hotline reaction to, beating the Sixers. I was on every night during that Sixers series. That was big. Nobody else was dominating those. Like even with baseball starting, the Mets had a rough April. The Yankees came out of the gate, but it was like, okay, it's a long baseball season. It's the beginning of the season. We can't really lean into that. Everybody was rallying around the Knicks and rallying around the Rangers. Ross is in Bergen County. Ross, you're back on the fan.
Keith, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you feeling after watching that Rangers game tonight? I hate the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I know your game. There was a Shaq quote I said, whatever the quote was, fool me, can't fool me again. I know that one too. Unbelievable. All it took was this point streak to snap in there. They're right back to square one. And you brought up Carolina, and I remember I called you about the Miko trade.
Yeah.
Two teams involved in that trade. You had Colorado with the gut-wrenching loss, 14 seconds left. By the way, Will Borgen hot off it was 5 years, $4 million, or 4 years, $5 million. Either way, bottom four career D-man, had spent years in Seattle, bottom four D-man, comes to the Rangers 17 games in. They signed into a long-term contract. As replaceable of the defenseman of Joe Fireman, hot off his new contract, turns the puck over with 15 seconds left in regulation. Keep in mind, even assuming they may have not won the game, which, by the way, they had a loss in Colorado like 2 weeks prior, lost the same way, gave up a game-time goal like a minute left and lost in OT. Even if you assume they don't win the game, every single point counts. I think they dropped like 3 spots tonight, or off the Colorado left. They probably dropped another tier off tonight. Just got blown out of the water. And Carolina's a better team. We've known that, but in the past, they got outclassed from first minute to last. I mean, a minute in, Sevastopol got the goal. It was all Carolina from there. I mean, it's the same names over and over. Mika just looks dejected. Kreider's got nothing in the tank. Lafreniere, I was on Twitter before. Lafreniere is probably, if you go down the list, there's probably 2 or 3 first overall picks in recent memory that are worse. And of all those picks that are worse, they were moved on from fairly early into their careers by the team that picked them, whereas Lafreniere, another long-term contract signed this year, just got a 7-year deal. So he's here to stay, and he's probably a career 40, 50-point player that had a career year last year and didn't build anything off of it. And that's why they're not going to go anywhere. That's why, we're going to have to sign, kind of like the whole rebuild, sending out the letter when they did in 2018, turning into signing Kevin Shattenkirk and Artemi Panarin because he couldn't develop freaking Wayne Gretzky if he walked into the organization.
Ross and the Rangers.
That's the difference between a team like, you look at a team like San Jose, for instance. Yeah, they're a terrible team right now, but they got some really good up-and-coming players to boot. And while it might not be piecing together this year, all it means is they're going to get another high pick just to add to their core that already looks great. They got Will Smith, they got Celebrini. Whereas the Rangers, man, they're just treading water. And let's be honest, Keith, even if they do get in, let's say they do get in, let's say they do go on another half month of a point street stretch, they're not going to do anything with it. You know as well as I do. They sneak into the playoffs.
It was a good bounce back run, Ross. Thanks for the call, man. I love letting Ross rant about the Rangers. That should be Ross's podcast. Ross ranting about the Rangers. Ross and the Rangers. How about those Isles, though? The Icelanders beat the Avalanche 5-2. We won't say anything about the Devils until the Devils, get back on the ice and get a win. They didn't play tonight. 888-808-1019. It's wide open for all sports conversation. We talk puck. Obviously, we're going to talk hoops. Obviously, we're going to talk baseball 24/7, 365. Jack out on Long Island's been holding. I wanted to get to Jack. What's up, man?
Steve, my man, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to get a shout out to my boy Mikey, Wilson, Pierre, and Ame. What's going on, my man? How we doing tonight?
Go ahead, bro. You've been on hold for like an hour. Go for it.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God, not as much as that other guy for 2 hours at least, right?
Okay.
A little sport. Let's talk a little sports tonight, Keith. The other night we were talking about Warren Moon and the whole race issue. You thought I said that you were racist. I was not saying that you were racist at all. I don't know why you thought that. That was like.
Is this Avi or Jack? Or are you guys together?
No, this is Jack. I'm with Avi. We're in the car together. How we doing?
Oh, we can clear it up. I don't think anybody's racist. I could tell by the tone that you called in, though. You kind of helicoptered in after the Warren Moon conversation and made it about race. But I felt like there was a clear need to ask Warren Moon, who couldn't enter the draft because of his race, right? Couldn't be a quarterback like a Jaden Daniels or a Jalen Hurts. If you get a chance to talk to Warren Moon, you kind of ask him about the fact that you had those guys playing in the NFC Championship.
I appreciate you, by the way, educating me on the fact that I didn't know about the whole fact that black quarterbacks were not able to go into the league back then. I actually was not aware of that.
Yeah. The world was not ready. Well, not the world. The United States was not ready to see the quarterback be black, and they were not drafting black quarterbacks. But now we have record-breaking numbers, right? Some almost 50 million people watched Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts. And I know someone like Warren Moon who paved the way for that. That's got to make him kind of proud. That's got to make him feel good that, he went the hard way. He had to go to Canada. He had to go win championships in Canada. And then they said, okay, come on. But ultimately, when he came out of college, he was stopped from going into the NFL and being drafted as a quarterback. They wanted him to change positions, and that was strictly because of his race. He was always one of the greats.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of great quarterbacks right now. And listen, what do you think, Mahomes? We got Mahomes going against Hurts this week. And listen, I gotta take Mahomes. I mean, I don't know how you could bet against Mahomes this week and a three-peat. Mahomes just gets it done. This team knows how to win the close game. I think that they're gonna shut down Brown by putting McDuffie on Brown, and they're gonna crowd the box, and they're gonna take Barkley out of the game. I think Kansas City's defense. I love Spagnuolo. I love him from the Giants. Let's go Chiefs all the way, and a three-peat for Mahomes.
Thanks for the call, Jack and Avi. If you care to go back to Friday, Football Friday, last Friday, I had Warren Moon on. It was a great conversation. For me, it was a full circle moment. I wouldn't have been able to go to college if I wasn't a little bit decent at football in high school, and I specifically played the quarterback position. I was too young to really watch Warren Moon in the beginning of his career, but I did catch on after. The first that I had heard of Warren Moon was literally going to the Ocean Township Elementary School, going to the sports section and taking out a Warren Moon book and reading it and learning about his life and how he lost his father young, learning about him, going to a certain high school to get a better education, just basically learning about Warren Moon's trials and tribulations as a young black man in America who was highly talented, but had to deal with racism and prejudice and circumstances that he couldn't control, but he thrived and he figured it out. So when I had him on last week, Avi and Jack or whatever, and no disrespect to you guys, you listen to my show, you call my show, great, but I could just feel negative energy coming because last week when you called in, you're like, Warren Moon spoke so eloquently and you made it all black versus white. And I'm like, I didn't make it black versus white. I didn't even say white, but I'd be remiss to have Warren Moon on ahead of the conference championship when we have a rookie phenom, right? Just say rookie phenom. They're saying the best rookie season ever in the NFL. That's by a black man. Maybe we could have seen the best rookie season ever with Warren Moon. another black man that some 50 years ago was not allowed to enter the NFL and be the number 2 overall pick at quarterback. So I just felt like I had to ask him the question. I'm never making it about race, but I'm not shy speaking on it. I'm not ever shying away from the topic. 888-808-1019. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We'll be right back. Got to go to the bathroom. Probably going to lose some followers, some watchers. Let me put up like a be right back. Okay. Show. All right. And I need a freaking...
This is Richard Gabor of Gabor Tax Law. I'm a tax attorney and CPA providing tax resolution services for over 35 years. We are experienced tax litigators handling every aspect of tax controversy from tax court trials, office and compromise, innocent spouse, levies, wage garnishment, bank account seizures, and business closings. If there is a tax controversy, we have handled it. We have fought and won against the IRS, New York, and New Jersey tax authorities. You have heard commercials from out-of-state tax resolution firms, and that's just it. They are out of state. We are located with fully staffed offices in New York and New Jersey, and you will be dealing with me in person, face-to-face. Any service offered by these firms we offer also, and ones they don't, such as tax court trials, bankruptcies, and state representation. I handle more tax court trials in 1 year than these firms handle in their entire existence. Call for your free consultation. Gabor Tax Law, your local tax resolution solution. 895-TAX-LAW, 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 800-958-2952.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast. I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro. No way. And finding out the 4th line is free? Oh, things got heated. That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro. Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Healthier starts here with Get Covered New Jersey. Open enrollment is happening now. If you need health insurance, get quality, affordable coverage with plan options that fit your life and your budget. 9 in 10 get financial help, and many pay $10 a month or less. All plans provide free preventive care, coverage for prescriptions, emergency services, and more. Enroll by January 31st at getcovered.nj.gov.
Are you a fan of The Voice? Join Optimum and NBC at the Roosevelt Field Mall near H&M on February 1st and 2nd from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. to take a turn in the famous voice chair. While you're there, pick up some NBC swag while supplies last.
Are you ready? Because the 2025 Kia K4 deserves not some, but all of your attention. The sleekness of its advanced LED lighting will have you standing out on whichever road you go down. Its class-leading second-row legroom allows you to experience a level of comfort you didn't know existed. The available dual-display digital cockpit brings the action right to you. With all of these premium features and more, the Kia K4 is ready to unlock a journey that others can only dream of, and a styling so mesmerizing you can't look away. The 2025 Kia K4. Visit your local Kia dealer to test drive one today. Kia, movement that inspires. Comparison based on publicly available data regarding second row legroom 2024-2025 as of November 2024.
Yo, another thing to put on your radar. Thanks for cutting all the audio with Boone and Hal, and then even getting the Keith McPherson Boone drop. As I'm listening to the station, there are no cuts of like Keith McPherson at night and then any type of and I always forget because I have different producers between you, Connor, Alex, whoever it might be. I have to tell you guys to clip that stuff and send it to Zach. All the other producers just know to do it and send it in. So like I don't have any current. Right, that as well. Oh, that's correct. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah. Yo, I'm back. I thought I was about to lose people. We got almost 1,500 in here. All right, let me talk to some people. Yo, thanks for not leaving. Cool. Yeah, giving you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes. I'm in New York at the Fan, WFAN. That's a cool look. Let's leave it here. The stupid light, though. I'm back. Let me see. How did I want to go about following up the last call and the last break? Okay, so yeah, that was good. You know what? I've had so many like interesting calls with callers, interactions, and then when they come back, I always feel good about that because whether it was Chippy and Queens, I went low and I mocked him, last year. And then he called back in to be like, hey, you didn't understand me, this and this, but all good. We moved on. And there was a reaction from it online, and online and real life are two different things. He was able to call back, listen to my show, enjoy my show. He's more of a later listener and caller. He might catch this right now. He might not. But, with the last back and forth between Jack and Long Island, on Long Island, Avi on Long Island, which, I guess they're friends, and they were listening to the 5-hour KM to AM on Friday, where it did get a little contentious. But, like, that's never my aim. I think most people that listen to my show now in year 4 know that, like, I like talking to you guys. I probably take 10 calls an hour, probably take 50 calls a night minimum. And I'm trying to get to everybody. I'm literally weaving in and out of conversations and trying to cue people up for the next topic. And like, I appreciate it. Like, I can't tell you, I've got 1,500 people watching this live online right now. Like, it's flattering. It's humbling. And I feel blessed to have the platform. And what I'm trying to get to is that, like, Friday, when the race thing came up with Warren Moon and talking about the evolution of the black quarterback and everything, like, I can articulate this stuff. I can speak about this stuff without being emotionally compromised, without being negative, without taking offense. And I remember saying, after Martin Luther King Day, and then, even coming off the election and now going into Black History Month this upcoming weekend, something that I really wish is for us to get to a place as Americans, as, people not from America that are in America, like, get to a place where we can talk about differences in race, religion, background without it always being a fight, without it always being somebody taking a side. Like, how are you going to learn about somebody? How are you going to understand somebody's experience and situation if you don't listen, if you don't understand where they're coming from, and also let them be proud of who they are and what they come from and what made them who they are. So, like, me as a black man, me as somebody who literally was told as a child, shout out to my mom, I can't pay for you to go to college. So I started to devise a plan young. Hey, I scored 30 touchdowns this season playing football. And some of the coaches and dads said, hey, if I keep this up, I can go to college. And from age 12 to 16, I worked at it. And by the time I was 16, I had a scholarship offer from Hofstra University. And I remember, feeling like, okay, I can go to school now. And even telling my mom that. My mom didn't understand. I'm like, yo, I did it. And she's like, all right, we'll do it again. And I ended up getting 10 scholarships and never making it to the NFL, and that's fine. But I knew that was my ticket out. And I can relate to the experiences years ago of being a quote-unquote black quarterback, where it was like, black guys aren't smart enough to play the position. They're not good decision makers. They're not going to be the right representation, face of the team, whatever. Warren Moon, I already told you the story about. I get an opportunity to speak to him. I'm not going to miss that opportunity, 1, to give him his flowers and say, hey, you inspired me, 2, to ask him about the current state of the NFL. Now, as we get back to the calls, this upcoming Super Bowl features Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is 100% black. Patrick Mahomes is half black, half white. His dad, Patrick Mahomes Sr., played for the Mets, played baseball, is black, and his mom is white. And I mean, that needs to be said because we can't just, when it's convenient, you can't just be like, he's a black guy. But it also needs to be said because even being half black, if this was 50 years ago, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have had the opportunity that he has in the league now. Like, you got to know some history. And if you'd like to know more about the history, specifically with this matchup, this is the second time we're getting this matchup. 2 years ago, we got this matchup. And shout out to Mario in Long Beach. He's called. And even shout out to Smack, Michael Strahan, his company. They invited me to the screening of Amazon Prime's documentary. It's 51 minutes. Watch it if you have the time. It's called Evolution of the Black Quarterback. I just watched it over the weekend. It took me long enough. I remember saying on air that I didn't go to the premiere of it in New York City because I went to see the Yankees clinch, which they didn't do that night. Probably should have just went. But man, watching this documentary on Amazon Prime, which all of you probably have if you watch the NFL, if you have the time to watch something, like, go save it now on Amazon Prime and just go watch, what these players had to go through, and watch the intro. The intro starts with the history of Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts, two black quarterbacks, and then Michael Vick talking about how did we get here? And then Michael Vick takes you through the history of how the NFL evolved in this country in this time to get to the point now where we're about to have an NFL draft. And, Avi's call last Friday, I felt like he was trying to bait me. He's like, Keith, who are the top black quarterbacks in this upcoming draft? And I said, well, there's a few, but at the top two that will be taken are Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. And then he went on to say, oh, well, I just got in my car after work. I hear you talking to Warren Moon and you're making everything about race, black and white. And I'm like, no, sir, that's never my aim. I'm able to have this conversation in front of anybody and, do it in a way where, like, I hope that people can take something from it. So I don't want to always have to clear that type of stuff up, but it is necessary. Somebody just got in their car now and heard a little bit of that, and they're like, yo, where'd that come from? Again, my aim, if my platform, right, on the internet and obviously here on WFAN, if I can educate, if I can articulate, if I can eloquently speak to these things in a way, I'm going to every single time. I'm not shying away from it. And I really do hope and pray that as Americans and even non-Americans, like, we can get to a point where it doesn't always have to be a fight. It doesn't always have to be one-sided. It doesn't always have to be black versus white or white versus whoever. Anybody was like, we're all Americans. I think last Friday when I came in, I said, I'm a full-blooded American. I love football. How can I not? How could I not? It was forced on me as a kid, and I fell in love with the game, and I'm going to watch every single playoffs and Super Bowl. And, I gotta thank football for being in my life to help me get out of my situation. I would not be on the radio right now without it. 888-808-1019. Let's get back to all the conversations around sports, around whatever comes with sports. And that's another thing, right? Sports is supposed to be a great equalizer. It's supposed to not matter what race you are. It's supposed to not matter where you're from. We're supposed to judge people in sports off of how they play the game. So let's get back to talking about how they play the game and a bunch of different things. Val is in the Bronx. Val, you're on the Fan.
Yes, what's good, King?
Bringing it home, another 5-hour KM to AM.
Always killing it, brother. Always killing it. Yo, I got some Jets talk I want to talk with you, but before I say that, right, I just want to say one thing really quickly. It was nice to hear the conversation about that talk from Aaron Boone with Cabrera, and I like how you framed the conversation when you said, and let's be correct about the order, the way that he said the name. Because I don't know if you remember, but last week, I think it was last week Monday, we talked about that. And I said to you, I couldn't understand why they kept dropping Cabrera in the depth chart.
Yes, sir.
It's good to hear it said like that. And I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. To get to why I called you this evening, though, I wanted to talk some Aaron Glenn stuff. And if I got a few moments, I want to give you, let's say, 3 reasons, all right? It might be 4, but one is like an A-B kind of thing. 3 reasons why I think Aaron Glenn is the perfect coach for what we're about to do right now. And I'm hoping he can turn out. This might be like pie in the sky, but I'm hoping he can be my Tomlin. The first reason, okay? Everybody talks about him as far as him being a player in the league. But I think that the nuance in it, and if you know anything about me, I like the nuances in conversations. The nuance in it is the kind of player that he was and how long his career was considering the kind of player he was. He was an undersized guy. You look nowadays with the kind of corners and the kind of receivers that they're covering. He was an undersized cornerback. And so at his spot, fundamentals, how you approach things, your mindset towards what you're trying to.
Yeah. Knowledge of the offense, what routes these guys are running, being there before they're there. Yep, go on.
Thank you. Even more so than your actual athletic ability. And I'm not saying he didn't have athletic ability, but he had to be up on his fundamentals. That means he's somebody who was open to being coached, and he was somebody who was, if you look at his career, he was coached by some of the best. And some of them same people is the ones that are endorsing him and telling you why he's a good hire for the job. So, and that being said, it means he was open to being taught something, and that should give him a good step in being able to teach people things as well. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
The second reason why I like it so much, and this was some sounds I heard on your show, and I got some other sounds that I heard too that backed it up as well. That's the AB I'm talking about. The first one I heard from you was when he was talking about how he came through. The fact that he was interested in, and maybe not, he was reluctant at first, but especially after I think Parcells said something, he was interested in trying to learn as much as he could about all aspects and all levels of actually managing a team. And that is very, very comforting to know, because some of what I wanted from Saleh that I didn't get was that overall view. I thought for the kind of talents that he had to begin with, if he was just a little bit better at understanding the overall game plan, the overall things as far as like possession, time of possession, how to make that offense work for his defense. Those are the kinds of things that come from having a look at things from an overall. I mean, he was somebody who scouted players. He was somebody who, coached players. He was somebody who actually watched other people coach players and understands a lot of that stuff. So that's the second reason. And the other bit of sound I heard was something that played on Evan and Tiki's show. They played something where I think it was like in a OTA or something like that. And he was getting on the defense because they had been deep all day by their own offense. And when you heard the way that he was getting at players, it goes back to what I wanted as well, to somebody who could not suggest to people that this is what I need done or ask people this, but like actually demand results and get them from players. And I don't know if you have that sound, but if you heard it, it's something that speaks to that as well. You know what I'm saying? Reason that I'm gonna get to. The last reason I'm gonna get to. I also heard some sound, and this was something that I think it might have been Marco that played it, like coming back from an update. But it was something to the effect where, like, I think this was like the personnel kind of thing. It sounded like it might have been, an introductory meeting to kids that they had recruited and things of that nature. And he had known so much about these guys and was telling them
about winning.
Players. Like he has a mindset in terms of the prototypical player he's looking for. And he even talked about that with the culture. I think that's what he was getting at too. I need people around me that I can see certain things from, and I'm going to get the best that I can out of them. The highest to me is like, it's perfect. And even getting past the whole thing with the GM after, if they both have because I don't think, the fact that he scouted players means that he can only be an asset to his GM. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I don't want to get too far carried away because there are a bunch of other questions that got to get answered first before I can feel really, really comfortable about it. I still feel comfortable with him being at the helm to work orchestra.
Thanks for the call, Val. I mean, listen, Jets fans, you can feel excited. You can feel good about it. Don't let anybody guilt you into feeling good about feeling like you have the right guy. Bookmark those tweets. Save those comments, because when he actually is the right guy, you can be like, yo, see, I had a feeling. I told you so. Not everybody has to have PTSD and trauma from the past. I know I got on here and I played a lot of the sound that you were speaking of. I played the sound where he's in a room talking about guys that were at, I think, Ohio State or Alabama. He's going to bring in players from winning programs that won in high school. He's going to bring in players that are used to winning. Winning is in their DNA. He talked about you woke up that morning and you knew you were going to win that game. No loser mentality. I also played a clip from him talking about how I'm not just a defensive coordinator. I'm a coach. He's going to check in with the offense, the defense, the special teams. And I took it a step further to say he's head ball coach. He's going to be checking in with the strength and conditioning guys, the medical training staff, the food people, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to be leaving no stone unturned as a CEO type. I played the audio of him talking about how when he retired from the NFL, he opened up 8 restaurants. He had a chain of restaurants called Frenchie's. And he thought that that's what he had to do with his NFL money. That's what he had to do, be a businessman, invest his money into something and make a business. And he was yelling at the TV, and he told this same story in his press conference. If you heard it, his wife saying, AG, go coach. And that was a burden lifted off of him. He was trying to be somebody he's not. This is a football lifer. And this is a guy that got it out of the mud. He talked about Parcells when he told Parcells, I want to coach. And he told him, you're going to scout. You know why? Because you need to learn from the bottom up how everything is done and not be handed things, right? When you're handed things and you skip the line, you don't fully understand everything that's going on. So I look at AG, Aaron Glenn, as a guy that was drafted here, played here. And yes, like Val was talking about, he was undersized. He couldn't get away with, speed. Well, he had speed, but he couldn't get away with just like being bigger and stronger than his guy. Like he was an underdog. And the Jets are underdogs right now. And he knows that. When we come back, I told you I was going to go through Ben Johnson's staff and Mike Vrabel's staff. I will. And I think it's imperative that the Jets this week, before we get to the weekend, start naming the staff under Aaron Glenn. Aaron Rodgers, I'm not worried about. I am more worried about who's going to be the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, and position coaches. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan. I'll be right back. Are the Knicks series contenders? Let's see. Yeah, I could talk about Aaron Glenn all day. I'm trying to position that streak. I think that's good right there. Man, still holding. I think a lot of this is from Twitter, Instagram. Damn, mad comments. I'm trying to keep up with everything. Doing live radio and doing the video live is OD. But in a good way. This is a test, yo. Yo, Keith, love the grind on and off the air. Appreciate it, bro. I'm trying to win. When we come back, I'm going to talk about this Bears coaching staff that Ben Johnson has put together. And Mike Vrabel. Pushing along here. I don't know if Smeeze. I'm like, bro, I'm the texting. Bro, I'm saying I'm not reading all that. I'm live on air and online. I'm saying I can't read that right now. That's another level of this. You can be live on Instagram. You can be live on Twitter. You can be live on Twitch. You can be live on YouTube. And then I got people texting me. Patches, happy birthday if you see this. Joey Stats, I know you're in the chat, bro. I just got your text. Cool. I'm going to try and be there. Pinstripe Pride event. I'll be there Friday till like 5. Then I got to come do this show. Saturday, I'm going to hang out all day. Sunday, I'll be there for a few hours. Like let's say 4 hours when we get there. A full hour dedicated to how bad the Devils are right now. Markey is hurt. They're just in a little bit of a rut over this last month. I know I was saying I wanted the Devils to kind of level out and save some for later, but no. Win. Gotta get like we had back-to-back wins, and then I don't know. BZ Tommy, T Guns, what up? What was the point of this story? Lost me. So okay, cool. I can knock that out easily. Cool. But so like that's why I ended the break and I came back from the break and cleared that up, because I know like these jokesters are calling in trying to like do things and people are listening like, what are these guys talking about? Like, the kid was like, oh, you called me a racist? Like, bro, I could smell the energy on you. You were triggered. You were upset. I wasn't triggered. I wasn't upset. I'm always clearing it up. Nah, did he get hired somewhere? Yeah.
Anyway, Kellen Moore looks to be in the lead. Will have you standing out on whichever road you go down. Its class-leading second row legroom allows you to experience a level of comfort you didn't know existed. The available dual-display digital cockpit brings the action right to you. With all of these premium features and more, the Kia K4 is ready to unlock a journey that others can only dream of. And a styling so mesmerizing, you can't look away. The 2025 Kia K4. Visit your local Kia dealer to test drive one today. Kia, movement that inspires. Comparison based on publicly available data regarding second row legroom in 2024-2025 compact sedans as of November 2024. Compact sedan class as defined by Kia segmentation. Your official station to talk. The Fan 101.
Shout out to you wherever you are. In the car, maybe you're in the gym, maybe you're at home. I know it's almost 11 o'clock. I got about an hour left. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Shout out to the 1,566 people watching across my social platforms. I was like, yo, I need to figure out a video component. In the morning, they're on CBS Sports Network. In the midday, they're on Twitch. And then on the afternoon, they're on SNY. And I'm like, I'm not the best looking guy, but let me see if I can figure out something with the video. And I did. Keith McPherson always says, man, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So I'm cheating the system right now. I'm streaming live on the free Odyssey app, on the radio, and on 4 different social platforms. I figured out something to do to be seen. And I think it's a win. I'm surprised this many people are watching. My boy Shmeez is sending me hater comments from Reddit. Shout out to all the nerds that go on Reddit and write about WFAN all day behind random accounts. You hate everybody at WFAN, but you spend time writing paragraphs about us. So we appreciate you. Thank you. Continue. Do that on Facebook. Do that on Instagram. Do that on Twitter. You know, I kind of got over it. I remember coming in. I remember talking to Spike like, yo, we can change the culture of our online fans. No, you can't. It's a part of it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to talk to some of these people. I'm going to, respond. You can't do that. It's part of it. We are in an envious position as radio hosts. We have this job and we are public figures and we are scrutinized and talked about by completely anonymous people. But then you know what I always do? I shout out to the people that they don't call. They don't write on the internet. They just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So thank you. 888-808-1019. Before we take another call, Paul just told me that Mike McCarthy, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he's out this year. And I think I even said last night, like, why not give him a call if you're Aaron Glenn? See if he wants to be an OC with Aaron Rodgers. I would be calling him tonight. I'd be calling him tonight. You sure you're out? Because this news just broke that Mike McCarthy's going to focus on next year and coming back. Man, another year off. And Jerry Jones and Dallas Cowboys gave him a raw deal. For them to hire Brian Schottenheimer, I think it was literally just to keep the contingency with Dak Prescott, who they paid all that money to, and keep the same offense. And that's Mike McCarthy's offense. Mike McCarthy was calling the plays. But you know what? There were also reports that they didn't want to give Mike McCarthy any control or say over the roster. And how much are we talking about? Buying the groceries and cooking the meal, and how the trend in this NFL is so many of these coaches are having a say in the roster, like Bill Belichick did. Like, I don't know, man. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji seem like they're on the same page, and they got to get going. The Chicago Bears and Ben Johnson are not wasting time. They hire Ben Johnson. He takes Antoine Randall L. from Detroit, where he was the wide receivers coach. He makes him his assistant head coach. Great hire. A guy that's respected by all of these players because he played. We all know who he is. Then he hires Declan Doyle to be his offensive coordinator in a similar light that he became offensive coordinator. Declan Doyle was with the Broncos as a tight ends coach, and he's young. I think he's like 28 years old, and so he's an offensive whiz. So Ben Johnson is kind of giving him the same opportunity that Dan Campbell gave him, right? Ben Johnson was a tight ends guy, got elevated to like passing game coordinator, offensive coordinator. They also hired Dennis Allen to be the defensive coordinator. Dennis Allen as defensive coordinator is great because he's bringing a little bit of head coaching experience. He was the head coach of the Saints before they fired him and put Darren Rizzi in that spot. But I think that's a great spot for him. And then special teams coordinator is Richard Hightower, which I don't know too much about Richard Hightower, but just those first few hires within like your first, week on the job, I'm like, they are not wasting any time. Now, also, Aaron Glenn will be compared to Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel is up there in New England. He brings in Josh McDaniels. Almost everybody knows Josh McDaniels from being the offensive coordinator under Bill Belichick. Tried to be the head coach with the Raiders. That didn't work out. He brings him back to New England to be his offensive coordinator. Terrell Williams is going to be the D coordinator. And I forget who they were speculating was going to be the D coordinator under Vrabel, and he went a different direction. They're working. These guys have a relationship from Tennessee. He was the defensive line coach in Tennessee. Special teams coordinator, Jeremy Springer. Offensive assistant, Riley Larkin. Quarterbacks coach, Ashton Grant. Running backs coach, Tony Dews. Tight ends coach, passing game coordinator, Thomas Brown. They already have a bunch of guys on that staff. Doug Marrone, some other guys that you might not know, but if you just search Patriots coaching staff tracker, it comes up with all of these guys. They did not waste time filling out that staff. And the Bears aren't too far off either as far as hiring their staff. I even like the move to make J.T. Barrett, former Ohio State quarterback, the quarterback's coach with Caleb Williams for the Bears. So I don't know. I've just been in the weeds. Oh, and Al Harris. How did I forget Al Harris from the Dallas Cowboys, defensive backs coach for the Chicago Bears. So they have a ton of talented guys, respected guys already coaching under Ben Johnson. And same thing has happened with Mike Vrabel. I hope the same thing happens with AG Aaron Glenn. 888-808-1019. Last hour to go. Open mic time. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll blow through these calls. I got exactly 1 hour left on the fan. Keith McPherson. I'll be right back. Let's go. All right. I got to go do an ESPN read, so you got to come with me. Let's see here. I got to go in the other studio. This is the Mike Francesa studio. I got to do this in the Boomer and Geo studio. Oh. Work. If you were watching my Instagram live, I forget what day I did it. I showed you guys this process as well. Doing ESPN ad reads, and it's great. You get paid your regular salary as a radio host, and then you get an endorsement fee doing ad reads. And I've been blessed to have ESPN as even an option for me. All good? Okay. I just got to read it to myself so that I can get a good take. Okay. The best time of the year for football is finally here. Let me make this bigger. The best time of the year for football is finally here. The big game has arrived, and fans are excited to see who will be hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. You can get in on all of the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Check out their big game giveaway promo for your chance at $1 million in prizes. 25 winners will walk away with $10,000, or they want us to say 10. 25 winners will walk away with $10K in cash, and 7,500 winners will get $100 in bonus bets. No deposit or bet required. Opt in today in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Terms and conditions apply. Okay. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The best time of the year for football is finally here. The big game has arrived, and fans are excited to see who will be hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. You can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Check out their big game giveaway promo for your chance at $1 million in prizes. 25 winners will walk away with $10K in cash, and 7,500 winners will get $100 in bonus bets. No deposit or bet required. Opt in today in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. One take, Drizzy Drake. That's how it's done. Professional. You already know. You already know. This is Boomer and Geo studio. All right, now back to work. Open mic. Well, this was work too, but that was just like a little sidebar. So you guys hear the ads, you'll get that. You'll understand that. All right. Let's see. Nailed it. Damn, one take. You get an adrenaline rush every time you're working, or do you actually get used to this? It is similar to like sports. Like you do get an adrenaline rush, but you learn how to control it. Like you just saw me do that read. When I first started doing those, that might have taken me 5 takes, but I knew to kind of read it to myself and then just like knock it out, and to do it like a little bit more boisterous with energy, because it sounds better when the recording comes through. If you do a ad read, which I have, if you do some ad read recordings where you're just like, the best time of the year for football is finally here, you'll hear it back and you're like, that didn't sound good. You need a little more a little more enthusiasm with that. So yes. Very nice. Thanks for the tour. Yeah. I used to say before I was like ever even thought of here, like how many people wish they could even like ever be inside WFAN. So many of us like listen to the station and listen to sports, and like it's all theater of the mind. Once upon a time, there wasn't as many, video components to be able to see the shows. But even now, like, Aaron Boone was in here today. There's people that like, I talk to kids all the time. They're like, man, I would love to go, inside WFAN. I'm like, you can be. They have college kids come through here, radio programs, and yeah, we should do more. I forget who I was talking to. I think I was talking to Rami about it. I'm like, yo, there should be like a behind the scenes, like vlog style, like WFAN vlog style thing, but it would take bandwidth to do that. So I'm gonna have to, edit it, post it.
Brought to you by Hard Rock Bet. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and roll with us. Dodgers took baseball by storm as they continue to spend big-time money and use deferred money to help bring in some of the highest-priced talent in the game. Now, Steinbrenner admits the Yankees can't live in that rarefied air, but doesn't mean LA is unbeatable. It's courtesy of Yes. Meanwhile, things unraveled for the Rangers after failing to capitalize on a shorthanded breakaway from Vincent Trocheck late in the second period. Carolina added 2 more within the first 2.5 minutes of the third. They blanked the Rangers 4-0. Sam Rosen to call MSG. That's back-to-back losses for the Rangers after winning 7 of 10. Islanders ripped the Avalanche 5-2, pushed their win streak up to 5 straight, and St. John's disposed of Georgetown 66-41. 35 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park, and that's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Inside the 11 p.m. hour tonight, my last hour on the Fan in New York, KM to AM, 5-hour sports talk show. Time flies when you're having fun. Hopefully you're having as much fun as I'm having. 888-808-1019 if you'd like to get on. Whatever you guys want to talk about, I will bring some stuff to the table that has come across my desk, or anything that I feel like we've missed. No Casamigos Big Shot tonight because Casamigos doesn't sponsor the Big Shot anymore. So when I get a new sponsor, it'll be more consistent. And the Rangers lost. I guess I could pick one of the Islanders, but I'm kind of putting that on hold unless there's like somebody that really stands out. You know, last week I was doing kind of like insert advertiser here. I'm kind of waiting on that. I gotta reach out. I got a couple prospects. I got to reach out to some people. And shout out to Casamigos, from the jump, kind of wanting to be a part of my show and reaching out and sponsoring that segment. It was great while it lasted. Anyway, 888-808-1019. I would like to start talking about the East-West Shrine Bowl and the Reese's Senior Bowl as far as the rosters go and, players that we're going to look at. I did mention it before because I talked about Shedeur Sanders being out there. I talked about Jalen Milroe, how I want to change my opinion on him, and I think his stock can rise. Jackson Dart is out there as well with Jalen Milroe. Both of those guys are on the radar of your New York Giants. And Jackson Dart met the media, and they talked a little bit today. And I think the Giants have reporters out there. I think a few of the Giants beat reporters are out there. Paul Schwartz, Charlotte Carroll. Jackson Dart from Ole Miss says, it's been special how our bond and connection has been able to grow. When asked about Eli Manning, he said it'd be a smooth transition if he was, able to land with the Giants and reconnect with the Manning family. I think that he's in play. I said a couple of weeks ago with pick 34 overall, maybe the Giants take Travis Hunter if the top two quarterbacks aren't there, and then they trade back into the first round to get Jackson Dart. I believe Joe Schoen and the Giants need a masterful draft and a good run in free agency to kind of rally the team and the fans and make people feel a little bit better about the season that we're going into with the Giants, because the strength of schedule is the toughest in the NFL. It's going to be hard to sell anybody on how well you're going to do next year. And I mean, God forbid we're doing that with Saquon Barkley and the Eagles being the reigning Super Bowl champs. Ben is in Connecticut on the Fan. Welcome back, Ben.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Steve, it's a great show as always.
Thank you.
So first of all, I'm not a big Joe Schoen fan. I wasn't thrilled we were having him back just because, first of all, I had a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth ever since his first draft where he took Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal with his 5 and 7 overall picks, and then Wan'Dale Robinson and John Michael Schmitz and Jalen Hyatt. It just has not been early great drafts from this guy for sure. And I'm really not thrilled about having him back. I don't have a ton of confidence. Jackson Dart's interesting this draft. We'll see. I guess you have to trust the process. One thing I wanted to bring up here is, so I listen to a lot of sports talk radio, and one thing that I sometimes do is flip on the Boston station, and they were just going crazy today about how Mike Pellegrino was let go as their defensive backs coach. Okay, this guy has been really spectacular in that role for them. And they couldn't believe that Rabel wasn't having him back. This guy kind of coached up, step up.
It's not his guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's not his guy. He doesn't have to keep him. He can fire everybody and bring in his own guy. Yeah, and I don't know if you had to have just caught it. I was just going through his staff.
Yeah, I did. But they couldn't believe it didn't have him back. This guy's a Long Island native, Mike Pellegrino. I think he might be good for the Giants. Maybe we bring him in to the coach the defensive back. First of all, I would like to see that. I don't know. I know it's an obscure name to bring up.
No, but it's a good point because the only heads to roll from the Giants' terrible season was their D-back safety coaches.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And Keith, I wanted to ask you this, and I know you like to run a positive show, and it's what I really love about you. But in terms of Joe Schoen, how should we feel as Giants fans? Am I crazy to feel like I just have no confidence in this guy?
No, you're not crazy. No, you're not crazy. And I've been talking about how I just feel like he has this book on being a GM that nobody else reads, only him. What has he done for you? One playoff win? That one playoff win has done more bad than good. What has he done? He drafted Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors going to the Pro Bowl. He drafted Malik Neighbors. I'll give him that.
Sure.
He had a good class. Even though they played on one of the worst teams in the NFL, which might as well have been a glorified college team, he had a good draft class. A lot of those guys contributed and played this year. But it really doesn't make up for the draft class that You were just going over it.
Totally, and those picks are really disasters. And we had top 10 picks, and he had like 4 top 10 picks in his first 2 years, and they were all disasters. I mean, Evan Neal's a turnstile, and John Michael Smith was one of the worst Pro Football Focus offensive linemen for years. So I'm not sold on this guy. The other thing that I don't like is, and I think you'll kind of like speak to this as well, is he has sort of an arrogance to him. You know, you can even see it when we watch him on national television in the offseason Hard Knocks of like, you know, the way he talks to John Mara, he's kind of like chuckling at him, you know, he's smirking, he's like, oh, I heard that, the Chicago's driving up the price and Philly's out.
Smartest guy in the room.
You would say that, right?
Way too comfortable for me. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I said that Hard Knocks was basically Joe Shane's show. They show us in his car. They show us in his house. They show us in his office. It basically was a look into what your GM is and who he is. And they got egg on their face from a lot of those moves and mistakes. And even after the season, during the season, he talked about like, well, we're losing the games, but like we're losing them close. Oh, all right. You're not getting blown out. It's the NFL. That's the whole thing in the NFL. Like the Chiefs are winning the games, but they're winning them close. Like you can't brag about not getting blown out. And then you started getting blown out. And, after the season, he talked about, oh, he didn't fear for his job at all. Yeah, he wasn't worried at all. What does that say? A terrible season. They're flying planes saying fire everyone, but you weren't worried?
Totally. And how about the quote that he had of like, I think we'll both be doing this for the next 10 years. We'll be talking to you 10 years down the road.
Too comfortable.
What are you talking about, man? You have like the worst 2 draft classes I've ever seen as a Giants fan.
Yeah, he needs more of a sense of urgency, and fear is a good thing. You should be fearing for your job. When you don't fear that your job is potentially going to be taken from you, you're on cruise control. Great call, Ben. Thanks for the call. 888-808-1019. Like, what has he done? And that's why when I had that rant earlier about Saquon and all the Giants fans coping and saving face, like, oh, well, we weren't ready to, have a running back like that. Yeah, you were. You drafted him. He's been with you for the first 5-6 years of his career. Like, what are you talking about? Saving face saying, well, he wouldn't have rushed for 2,000 yards with us. It's about the mistake that was made. It's about what transpires after you decide to let him test the free agent market. He tests the free agent market and he shoves it in your face with the Philadelphia Eagles. Not intentionally. That wasn't his intention, but it definitely was the Eagles' intention. The Eagles are like, oh, you don't want him? Huh. Oh, we'll pay him. Yeah, we'll pay him. A little bit more than you. We'll pay him. He'll come right down the turnpike. We'll go to the Super Bowl. And if I'm a fan of the Giants, I'm looking at Joe Shane like, bro, the blood is on your hands. This is your fault. This is your decision. You paid Daniel Jones. You didn't pay this man. You let this man go to the Eagles. The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. We have to live through this. And as much as Giants fans want it to end, well, we're blaming the broadcasters now. What else are they supposed to say? This is year one. When do they stop talking about the Giants as far as Saquon? Never. Because of off-season Hard Knocks, because of where he was drafted, and because of how it played out. It wasn't like Saquon was money hungry and was like, I'm out of here. They're not going to pay me. It wasn't like he wanted to go to Philly, like he had eyes on greener pastures. He said he wanted to be here. The end. I would keep him here and let his legacy be whatever his legacy is with the New York Giants before I let him go create a different legacy with my in-division rival and make them better and put them over the top. That'd be hard to stomach. Yeah. For me, Shane is just way too comfortable. I think he thinks he's just locked in for years. And why wouldn't he be? Because Marison, I'm practicing patience, and they got a 5-year deal. And just the arrogance after the season with the way that he answered questions and the way that he talked. Yeah, no, was never worried. You should have been. 10-game losing streak. You weren't worried in New York that you could be fired? That's crazy. Rob is in Keyport, New Jersey. Rob, you're next.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Great show. Always love listening to you, sir. First time caller, long time listener. Here you're talking to a Washington Commander fan. That's the topic of discussion. I want your opinion on what they need to do to get over the next hump to beat the Eagles. And also, besides possibly a bigger offensive line, let's start that off and let me get another couple words into it here, sir.
I honestly hope that Jaden Daniels never goes back to an NFC championship. I hope they do nothing.
You are a great man, and you're a Dallas. I'm proud to say you're a great man as a Dallas fan. That's amazing.
I'm not a Dallas fan anymore. I'm a free agent. I hung it up. I'm done with them. Yeah.
Bless you.
No, I am fearful. They have some cap space to play with. They have just the right energy and mojo. And you know what? They figured out the quarterback. So once you figure that out, everything else is easy. Go on.
That all the game, all that they were chasing him. Please don't get it. Please don't get it. And he was able to get out of every situation. That was amazing. My blood pressure went down when he did. And
he's Houdini. He's slippery. Pause. But he's just like he doesn't get hit. Like he doesn't take on big hits. He's able to kind of dip out of little like holes and step out of bounds and find spaces. And as slim and slender as he is, like he's different. He's fast. He knows when to run. He knows when to throw and get rid of it. Yeah, that's what they got to do. They got to put like 10 pounds of muscle on him. He's got to hit the protein, the creatine, get in the gym a little bit more and put like 10 pounds of muscle on. I think they'll improve that defense, and I think they have to improve that defense. What else do I look at the Commanders? That offensive line. You know what? As a Dallas fan, the fact that they took Dorrance Armstrong, Tyler Biadasz, who else did they take from the Cowboys that the Cowboys didn't want, and they turned them into starters and were successful this year? I don't know. They had a handful of guys. Even getting guys like Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner, Austin Eckler, who people were like writing them off, and they had decent years. The Commanders, I know what the Commanders got to do. The Commanders got to get a better name and logo. That W is whack. That name is terrible.
No hate whatsoever. You are an awesome host, and there's nothing wrong about you. So I hope you continue on the fan.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Don't type my name into Reddit. Don't type my name into Twitter. I don't know, man.
Remember the overnight host on the fan like 10 years ago? That was a Washington fan. What was his name?
Mark Malusis. Moose. And now we've got Al Cintron, and honestly, Mark doesn't really rep the Commanders, the Washington Redskins like that. Thanks for the call, Rob, and the compliments. I appreciate everybody. I joke about this stuff on the internet. It doesn't bother me at all. My boy Shmeez just texted me a screenshot from Reddit, and I'm like, bro, I'm not reading all that. I'm live on air, and I really don't care. Even my wife is like, do not go on Reddit and talk back to them. I'm like, why not? It's fun. But he's like, bro, the only reason I sent it to you is because someone wrote like this long ass paragraph about you. And then the first comment is, my guy Keith is Stevie Wonder to these haters. And that couldn't be more true. I do not care. I will talk about y'all. I will respond to y'all. I will play the game on the internet. It is not stopping me from putting together a show. It is not stopping me from hosting a show. It is not stopping me from talking to 1,676 people live watching me in here do the show for 5 hours. I'm blessed. I'm thankful for whoever wants to get down and whoever wants to hate, bro. I was popped. It was quiet for me. Right. Aaron Boone listens to my show. Aaron Boone knows who I am. Shout out to Booney. When I filled in for Susan Wallman, Boone was like, how come you didn't do Susan's, pregame show? I'm like, me? I was like, the manager report? Nobody told me to. He's like, you're supposed to do the whole thing. I was like, nah. I'm barely gonna be able to call the game. This is not what I do. I do the radio. I do the hosting. I don't do the broadcasting, calling the game. These are my Mets. Honestly, growing up, I used to skip right past SNY. Like, nah, I'm not watching it orange and blue. Not for me. I have learned so much about the Mets doing this job. I have watched more Mets games in 3 years than I did in 30 years. I'm so locked in on Mets updates. So, like, I got Mets haters for no reason. Well, actually, I know the reason. Like, I tried to join the Mets fan community on Twitter so I could stay up to date on Mets alerts. And it's like, you are blocked. The admins blocked you. I'm like, why are they blocking me? I was trying to stay up to date on the Metropolitans. In Port Washington, Milton is next on the fan. Go for it, Milton.
Hey, Keith, what's up, man? Matt Props.
Thanks, man. Having a good time. Just, trying to lighten the mood, talk sports. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Thanks for taking my call. If Pete Alonso leaves, I find it a little symmetry back when 1999, 2000, John Old, who was also a first baseman, left and the Mets signed Mike Hampton, big free agent signing at that time. And if Pete Alonso leaves, another first baseman leaves, and then we have Soto, who we signed from your team. I'm loving that. Rubbing your face a little bit. But now, all kidding aside, find that I find symmetry. That because I actually like that '99 team better than the 2000 team, even though the 2000 team went to the World Series.
Yeah, the fact is, we have to see how it plays out. What if the Mets are better without Pete? What if they start off hot, stay hot? What if they get back to the NLCS? What if they get to the World Series? Then none of this will really matter. I don't see that happening, but maybe, who knows?
I thought, if Pete didn't have that great postseason, I thought for sure they weren't going to re-sign him, but because he had a great postseason,
if Pete didn't turn heroic in the postseason, there wouldn't have been any offer. Like, we wouldn't even be where we are now. Thanks for the call, Milton. Like, it didn't. It's funny, and I've said this multiple times on the Fan. In New York, all we do is talk about it doesn't matter unless they do it in October. Aaron Judge, I don't care about Aaron Judge could hit 75 home runs. I don't care unless he performs in the postseason. Pete Alonso performs in the postseason. It didn't get him anywhere. It did not earn him anything extra. It did not buy him any grace. It did not buy him an extra year. Nothing. Here we go. It's Pete's fault. Everybody has to shoulder some blame. Everybody's got to shoulder a little blame in this.
Choosing the money hungriest agent and switching agencies. That's a clear sign what your first priority is. And that's okay. If you want to make the most money, that is okay.
Yeah.
Don't feed the fans the BS about LSGM and about I want to.
That's not. They're not correlated. It's not. He's not feeding you BS. That was his thing. Like, that's got nothing to do with Scott Boras and wanting to make the most money. He loves the Mets. He was the face of the Mets. Now he feels slighted by the Mets. Juan Soto's never been a Met, but
he would have signed. And that's the bottom line. And that's it.
No, because you hit free agency. He didn't know he was going to have a down year this year. He didn't know that statistically, and like a statistically down year for Pete Alonso. We're acting like he's DJ LeMahieu. Like,
he had 34 home runs. He batted, 220.
Yeah, and there was a ton of pressure on him. But when the pressure got to its like highest point, when the pressure was literally do or die, he responded, and that didn't get him anything. That's kind of crazy, right? I mean, that's got nothing to do with it. Like, Devin Williams, I know every Mets fan. They signed Devin Williams. That's Pete Alonso's son, but Pete Alonso's not a Met. Yeah, for Milwaukee, for the Brewers, it's going to be a lot different when you hear that, and then next thing you hear PC Richardson, and I'm somewhere turning up with everybody. Let's go, one again. Let's go. It's going to be way different. Devin Williams pitching in Yankee Stadium. He's not going to have a beard, but he's going to have a bunch of crazy lunatics willing him to victory, willing him to throw strikes, and then the batter's got to deal with that too. Devin Williams is going to be great. I think he's going to be great as the Yankees closer this year. He might not, and that's going to suck. I've seen it every time. I'd bet it happened again.
He's about 190 in the postseason. There's going to be major issues. That's entering, like almost like Ken Griffey, Lamar Jackson territory, Josh Allen territory of how good this guy is, and he never can perform in the big game.
The thing about performing in October, you can't do it in January. So we got to wait till next October. 888-808-1019. Nick is in Riverdale on the Fan in New York. Hello, Nick. You're live.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about who's your Yankees third baseman should be this year.
Okay, give me a couple options. Who are you thinking?
I was thinking Aldo Peraza. But maybe just give him a chance.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get a chance to compete.
No, I think they should just give it, fine, because they don't want them to mess him up.
Well, they can't just give it to him. He's going to have to come into camp, and he's going to have to earn it, right? They could have just given him the shortstop position, they kind of had to do that in the ALCS because IKF had the yips. Everything's earned, man. And I'm telling you, I've said this a bunch of times already. Competition is necessary. Competition is needed. Iron sharpens iron. I want there to be a competition for multiple positions, but there's not going to be. Let Peraza beat out Cabrera. Let him field every ground ball. Let him hit better through the course of spring. And then there you go, son. There's your opportunity. I'm leaning Cabrera. Cabrera, the last couple of years, has been the opening day starter, whether it was third base, left field. Like, he's been there. He's found a way. I'm leaning towards Waldo beating out DJ and Peraza. And then whatever, let the chips fall where they may for those guys. But I had it in my mind that they specifically wanted to use Cabrera as a utility guy. Yeah, they did last year. And then they put him in the World Series for Glaber late in the game, and that ball gets past him at second. It is what it is. 888-808-1019. We've got calls lined up for Pete Alonso, the Giants, who they're going to draft, the New York Knicks, the Mets, the Devils, and the Super Bowl. Keith McPherson on the fan. I'll be right back. All right, yo. Trying to get this stupid streak out of the way. All right, cool. Bruh. Let me do something real quick. Let me check the train time. So I took the train today. And a lot of times I'll take the train and I'll haul ass out of here to catch the train. I can make it to the train. If I got 8 minutes to spare, like, your boy still got it. I could get out. I could get out of here. So let me check these train times. My show ends at 12, but really it ends at like 11:54. So let me check these train times, and then I gotta kind of start packing up here. What's today? Tuesday? All right, bet. There's a 12:04. I bet I'll be on it. Yo, shout out to you, whoever you are. Yes, I'm talking to you. Whoever you are watching this, I appreciate you. You could do literally anything else. You could be watching this Chiefs rematch, or not rematch, this rerun. You could be watching this Bills Chiefs rerun, but over 1,700 people live watching me do what I was born to do, man. My radio job, talk sports, talk to fans, and entertain people. Whether you follow me on here or whatever, this is a test. That's why I think I labeled it test. I am streaming on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Whatever platform you prefer, search Keith McPherson. I think the YouTube is McPherson brand specifically. There's some things I've got in the works, I would say. And I'm always working. I'm always plotting. And that's why I thank you for rocking with me. You can do it too. One of the things that I'm going to do when I launch McPhersonBrand.com is set up a community for advice, set up a community for tips, just set up a community for people that are like, hey, man, how did you do this? Or when you were this age, what did you do? Or, can you give us any type of insight? Because one, I would want that. And two, it's just a good way to kind of give back. Like I said, none of this is possible without people rocking with me. This is the first time testing doing this. I've been live for 2.5 hours almost. And at first it was like 500 people, 600 people, 1,000 people. Now we're holding at 1,700 people. So let's go. Appreciate it. So I probably have like maybe 1 or 2 more segments left. And this was a test. The audio is not good. I'm using the MacBook audio. And shout out to, this MacBook is straight. I just bought this MacBook. This is one of the newest MacBooks. MacBook Pro, Apple M3 Pro. I don't know. It was a grip at the Apple store, but I needed it. I'm going to start doing my DJ stuff again. I'm going to start doing some like in the booth sessions, because when I rap, I'm gonna let y'all see the process of like putting together the raps, and then I'll let you guys see the process of WFAN New York. Yeah, the fan. 101.9 FM and streaming on the free Odyssey app with your nighttime host, me and me. So yeah, appreciate it, yo. Mad people in the chat that I can't get to. But that's okay. That's okay. Getting ready to hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. Let me see what else I gotta pack up out here, bruh. Broke these headphones tonight, but that's fine. Had backup. See, it's about being prepared, bro. It's about being prepared. Oh. Hey, must be the bunny. All right, let's get serious. Just kidding. Let's not get serious at all. Keith McPherson on the fan. Let's take these calls before I got to get out of here. Catch the train. 888-808-1019. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk sports. Alex is in Lakewood, back on the fan. What's up, Alex?
What's up, Keith? So first of all, I want to talk about what you were talking about earlier about the Knicks. The Warriors team that played the Celtics in the finals a couple of years ago. The Celtics were more talented. It's just been there, done that. You have to have more experience than just two second-round playoffs.
Correct. I know you've been following the league. You're a Bucks fan. The Bucks that year, I mean, they had a few different pieces, and they got lucky because of injuries with the Nets. But as we see in the NBA every year, experience plays and, chemistry plays. And when I say experience, it's not just experience in the playoffs, right? In the postseason, which is a different animal than the regular season. It's experience playing together. Like, you got to be cerebral. You got to know where the other four guys are on the floor at all times. Go on.
I'm just letting the Knicks fan know. The Bucks are on their game. There's no way any team can.
Nah. The Knicks have gotten the best of the Bucks, but we'll see. I won't sleep on Giannis.
Bucks are hot. Who's better? When Dame's ready.
The Knicks are better than the Bucks. I could be a Knicks hater, which I'm not really a Knicks hater. I'm more of a Bucks hater than a Knicks hater. The Knicks have beat the Bucks. Yeah. You talking about a team or one guy? Okay. They better make a move. The Knicks beat the Bucks twice this year. The Bucks haven't beat the Knicks. BI? Maybe. Anyway, yeah, and I know, as I said, I'm not sleeping on Giannis. We'll see. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns exists. They're about to get Mitchell Robinson back potentially. They're about to make some trades potentially. Let's see.
Can we go to the Jets?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, just from his press conference, you could tell Aaron Glenn is just the right fit.
He's a New York Jet, and he's freaking built for this.
And so I like what you were talking about earlier. You said about the Giants. You're like, Saquon Barkley didn't have his eyes on greener pastures.
Yeah, but he wanted to stay with the Giants. And you know what's funny? Like, Aaron Glenn talked about, man, I've done it in Detroit. I've done it in New Orleans. There's nothing like winning in New York and capturing the city. And I laughed. And I was like, oh, he wanted this job. Look at the timing. He knows he doesn't have to compete with the Giants capturing the city anytime soon.
The Jets still have a lot of talent. It's not like they're just falling off a cliff.
They have a ton of talent. They were bereft of coaching, right? We watched them win games, and they didn't know how to finish the game. Jeff Ulbrich just talked about how, like, he didn't know how to delegate and how he wished, there was a bunch of things he said as he took. Maybe. At pick number 7, I don't think Abdul Carter's falling to 7, but maybe Will Johnson, yeah.
If you got Will Johnson and Phillips in the secondary, I mean,
But that's what I said. With DJ Reed wanting out, bye. You don't have to be here. And then full circle moment. Aaron Glenn, a first-round pick. If his first pick in the NFL draft as the head coach of the Jets is to bring a corner in, awesome. Thanks for the call, Alex. 888-808-1019. Yeah. Saquon, if I'm Saquon's GM and I hear him, I want to be a Giant, I want to be a Giant, I want to be a Giant, and I look at how there's no weapons on my team, and I'm like, all right, this guy, he's pulling my arm here. He really wants to stay here. What are the alternatives? He goes to Chicago. He didn't go to Chicago. He goes to Philly. Unforgivable. Avery's in St. Louis next up on the Fan. Go for it, kid. Welcome back.
unforgivable. Unforgivable is right. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. I'm really angry. Everything I'm seeing NFL right now is just making me so annoyed. And every time I have to watch it, and I gotta live in Chiefs land here, and it's just.
And you know what, Avery, I was saying, like I hear so many of these Giants fans on the Fan coping and trying to save face about, Saquon wasn't that good with us, and he wouldn't have been doing that with us, and yeah, we get it. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. What you don't get is that, like, you could have stopped this reality from happening, but your GM thought that he was making some type of savvy GM move by letting the running back go test the free agent market. And now we all got to deal with this.
And I called about draft, but really, like, what world is anybody living in that they actually think that the Giants are going to be able to draft one of Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, the 3rd overall pick? And also, there's no chance they're trading up. And also, look at the competition in the division right now. Look at Jaden Daniels. That guy's a stud. How is any person we draft?
It's just not looking great. The prospects don't look great. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. I can tell you this, though. The Commanders picked number 2 overall. They ended up in the NFC Championship. If you do hire the right people, you do draft the right people, you do sign the free agents, it could turn around. We saw the Bengals do it, right? They were able to. But, yeah, I don't exactly start there. I don't think John Mara has the right people, but he's going to see it through this time because of his own mistakes the prior couple times.
And can we just talk just for a second here about NFL bogus? That's your thing, right?
Bro, it has been my thing for years. I regret I interviewed at the NFL in 2018, so I scrubbed my account. But back in like 2016, 17, anytime a play would happen on Sunday, I would screenshot the play or I would write the play and I'd use hashtag NFL bogus. I had this whole Twitter thread. And now Elon ruined Twitter anyway, where you can't search Twitter the same and click on it. But yes, NFL bogus was my thing, just to say, hey, I love the league, but like I'm letting you know it's bogus. The officiating is bogus and we just accept it. But yeah, I deleted all that when I interviewed with Roger Goodell in the NFL, thinking I was going to actually get hired over there. I wish I didn't do that because now I'd have all of that to reference.
Well, I mean, it's just such a joke. Year after year, this is 3 times in a row. It's rigged. It feels rigged. They want to get record viewership because they want to see the Chiefs get the first repeat in professional sports since the Yankees in the year 2000. I mean, come on. That recall, Josh Allen was over the line to gain keys. He made it over.
Nope, the guys on the field didn't think so. I know the guys in the booth did.
So standing 5 feet below the other guy. How is that happening in a championship game in the NFL?
Yeah, with millions of people watching, and it's so bogus. They can tell you that it's short, and you have to accept it and believe it to be true, and you know it's bogus.
All right, well, thanks, Keith. Take care.
Have a good one, man. I mean, Avery is a New Yorker, but he's out there in St. Louis. He's in Chiefs country. The kid is a Yankees fan, Rangers fan, Giants fan. He's going through it, man. He is going through it, man. 888-808-1019 as I'm running out of time. Mello in Orange County. You're on the Fan.
Hey, what's good, Keith? Thanks for taking the call, man.
You got it.
So why are we having so much Chiefs fatigue here? So I'm a Yankee Chiefs fan, right? And I was lucky enough to be at the AFC Championship game 2 days ago. Now, why are we not giving this man flowers that we know if you put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands, he's going to score, or they're going to put themselves in a position to score. The refs are the refs, right? There's calls either way. There were a bunch of offsides like the other day that weren't called. There was a late hit out of bounds that wasn't called against the Bills. We look at the plays that go for the Chiefs and count it against them. Why are we continuously doing that?
I mean, honestly, because people are soft and they don't want to admit the dominance. They don't want to admit the excellence. They don't want to admit the greatness that the Chiefs are able to go on that field and manufacture every single time. It's easier to just say they're cheating in favor of them. They want Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. This is all manufactured to help the Chiefs. What I always say is they're good, and it's not just Pat Mahomes, but he deserves a ton of respect. They have all-world players, coaches. They are an all-world organization, and this is habits that, like, they're going to do a 30 for 30 years from now. I'm sure they're already filming and we're not seeing it, right? Like, I watched the Netflix quarterback special on Patrick Mahomes and how he trains, and I'm like, he is training differently than some of these other quarterbacks. Who knows what type of stuff they actually do on a week-in, week-out basis inside the Kansas City Chiefs facility, but they are different than these other NFL teams. They deserve their props, and whether the refs help them or not, and people think that, they're going to win anyway. They're going to find a way to win. It doesn't matter if it's a blocked field goal. Doesn't matter if it's a Hail Mary. Doesn't matter if it's whatever. They find a way to win.
When Brady was doing it, right?
And they were actually cheating.
Right, and he was deflating balls, and they were saying he's the GOAT. He's Joe Montana. He's better. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it? Like, what's going on? Is it like something that I'm not seeing? But anyways, I just wanted to make a quick point. Is this how they were looking at the Yankee fan at us in the 2000s? They hate us because they ain't us?
Yeah. And look at how the tables have turned. That's why people line up to drink Yankee fan tears. Somebody mentions the fifth inning to me every week. Like, they do hate because, you know, greatness is hated. Thanks for the call, Bello. Anybody that does great things is going to get hated. You don't get unanimous love for being great. You could be the best radio host in the country, and you're going to have a pack of haters. And that should actually tell you that you're doing good because, like, they don't hate nobodies. They don't hate losers. And in anything, right? Mahomes is the way Mahomes ran. I'm watching this right now. Even Harrison Butker's going to another Super Bowl. He is goated. Kelsey, Chris Jones. There's so many guys on this team. Like, bro, Pacheco, he's about to have a ring for every year he's been in the league. 7th round pick out of Rutgers. How come we don't give them credit for drafting and developing well? They've got a bunch of guys on defense that nobody's really heard of that they picked, right? They can tell Ladarius Sneed, goodbye. Ladarius Sneed, we don't need you. You can go be a Tennessee Titan. We'll be back in the Super Bowl. They can tell Tyreek Hill, goodbye. Go sign with Miami. Trade you, get all the money from Miami, and you're going to be miserable talking about, I'm out, man. I'm out. Quitting on the team in MetLife Stadium. And they'll go back to Super Bowls, back to back to back. Who else? I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster goes to the Patriots to get money off of them, comes right back. Come on back. McCall Hardman goes to the Jets. Come on back. Come on back. We have a football factory. We do things different here. You'll see when you go elsewhere and come back. There's a reason we win, and it's not because of the zebras on the field. 888-808-1019. Josh is in Passaic. Josh, you're on the Fan.
Hey, Keith, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, first, I want to go off on what a caller said last night that, you know, wanted to have James Cook in that last play. Okay, they should have James Cook, you know, every single play.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said to him? Yeah, but you have to have personnel, and that's coaching. They feel more confident in Ty Johnson as a pass catcher. They feel more confident maybe in Ray Davis as a pass blocker. There's a reason why they have certain personnels for certain play packages. And James Cook, I don't know. It looks wrong now, but they scheme that way. They game plan that way. It looks foolish now. But like I'm watching the game right now, fourth quarter, 3.5 minutes left. They're throwing a pitch to Ty Johnson for a loss. That was their game plan.
Right, and, you know, James Cook, though, he's definitely the main pass catcher. He had 3. There's only one of the running back had 1 catch. Anyways, Keith, with our Devils, I feel very down on them right now. Without the goalie, I'm back from that injury. I got no confidence in them right now. I mean, I'm hoping because of their talent, on the offense defense they can do good. But without the goalie, it's getting me very nervous. Just wondering how you're feeling on those Devils.
I'm not feeling good about it. Markey is down for a while. I think it's going to be rough for a little while. I'm not feeling great about it. It was, yeah, it'll be much needed. I know I've been, on the fact that like the Devils were so hot for a while, they need to come back down to earth, but not like this, not like this. So it's a little bit of a rough stretch, but they got to make a couple moves. They got to get healthy, and we got to hope for the best. But like I said, I hate the Hurricanes. I just look at the Hurricanes, what they did to the Rangers tonight. I'm like, they're not going anywhere. They're gonna be right there. So, yep, could be another exit at the hands of Raleigh. Got a break after this one, right?
Shout out to Shlomo.
What up, Big Mac?
If I'm a Nets fan. So I told him I was, but not really so much. He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "This is a team I barely watched them. I just know if they won or lost." And as bad as they are, somehow, someway, there's 8 games ahead of the last place team. For the best chance of the number 1 pick. That makes no sense. I don't know why the Hornets are so bad.
It's the NBA.
It's the Wizards.
Right. I mean, it's the Wizards. They've been bad for a while. They're good at being terrible. Thanks for the call, Josh. And what you were saying before, as I'm watching this game, it does not matter that James Cook is the number 1 pass catcher. What I'm saying is personnel. They can go no running backs in the game because they're running out of time and they're running 2 minutes and they're trying to score. So why is James Cook not in the game? Because they want as many pass catchers, playmakers in the game, and not playmakers, obviously, like him that can run the ball, even as I'm looking at this play right now. What I said to you is for some reason, and we know the reason. If you watch the Bills play this year, Ty Johnson made some plays for them. They look at him as a better pass catcher, guy that's going to make a play, maybe that can take it to the house catching the ball. James Cook will catch a couple screen passes here or whatever. The Bills might be kicking themselves from not running the ball with James Cook, but late in the game here, as I'm rewatching it, they have Keon Coleman on the field. They have Curtis Samuel on the field. They have Mac Hollins on the field. They have Khalil Shakir on the field. They weren't thinking about let's run the ball with 2 minutes left with James Cook, and they took an L. And that's got nothing to do with the refs. They got the ball back with a chance to go down, score a touchdown, and win, and they could not. The end game. All right. Big Mac's coming up next. I got one more break. 888-808-1019. If you'd like to get a word in. If you're on hold, stay on hold. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan. I'll be right back. All right, Joe. Bringing it home now. About to be a wrap. I feel like most time prep wins over talent. Yeah, of course it does. In the NFL, that's all it is. They watch film, they game plan, they scheme. They just like they have a formula for how they're going to win, and it gets executed or it doesn't. Shout out to the cabbies on the radio waves listening. Yo, appreciate y'all. I know what it's like. I got 700 Lyft Uber rides under my belt. I used to do the same thing. I was just going to ask, what's your workout routine? And as a father, how you make time to stay fit? Because I lost it as a dad. Yo, boy dad, no dad bod, mixtape coming soon. First off, I got to say it's genetics. Second off, I got to say it's diet and supplement. And third off, I'll say being a former athlete, I have been in the gym since I was like 15. And it's all about scheduling. The same way you're going to schedule a call with somebody, like you got to schedule your hour in the gym in your calendar. Look at your day and say, all right, boom, this is the time I'm going. Doing the nighttime radio show, what I always try to do is like, okay, if my show starts at 7 and I got to leave the house by 5, that means I got to be in the gym 3 to 4. Non-negotiable. Because I'm in the gym 3 to 4. I got to shower up, pack up, get ready for an hour, eat, and then go. So that's how I know when I'm going to lift, Oh, man. I'm still here. I'm just getting my stuff. This is a long live, too. Almost 3 hours.
Prostate cancer. I urge you to look into CyberKnife. For an appointment, call NYU Langone's Perlmutter Cancer Center at 833-1-CYBER. That's 833-ONECYPR.
having the right winter tire matters. So take control of the roads this winter with a new set of Bridgestone Blizzak tires from Town Fair Tire. Town Fair has the region's largest inventory of Bridgestone tires, all at the guaranteed lowest prices you'll find anywhere. And with 100 locations, you'll find a Town Fair near you. For the guaranteed lowest price on Bridgestone Blizzak tires and the most free services for life, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
It's tax time at New York.
All right, packing up. Got my hat, hoodie, jacket on. Got my charger out. I think a lot of these people watching gotta be on Twitter, right? I'm going back to the Twitter feed. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on. I don't care if you follow me. Honestly, people always be like, "Yo, follow me, follow me, follow." I don't care. I care that you're watching though. Like, I care that you're aware of who I am and what I'm doing though. Like, so probably you follow me on something, and like little by little, this community builds. Little by little, we do more. Little by little, it's not little anymore. Feel me? You stack wins year after year. You meet more people. You expand. Keith getting ready to sprint down the street yelling, "Get out of the way." There don't be nobody. It's midnight in New York. It's a straight shot. I don't even got to yell. I just be pew, pew, pew. Dude, champions, Bills Mafia. I'm sorry, fellas. The worst words in sports are next year. Get them next year. Vikings and Commanders, best two teams? No. It's year to year. Let's see if they can follow up and be good again. Mm-hmm. Keith, can you get Heyman on here to find out the latest with P? I would. I can't wait to see John. What's your opinion on the Pete Alonso situation? Coming up right now. What a party! Club going up on a Tuesday. That was fun. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to my show. Thanks for watching my live. I think most of these people got to be from Twitter. There's no way. I've been live for almost 3 hours. We're up to now 1,836 viewers. And, okay, yeah, most of them are from Twitter. Twitter, I'm not going to knock that component of Twitter. I remember when there was like a third-party app to go live on Twitter that you needed. I forget the name of it. And shout out to Pooch. My guy Pooch used to go live all the time with that. But then there was no live capability on Twitter for a while. And now Elon has it set up where you can go live. And yeah, I got a lot of people on a live. And this was a test. I was like, yo, I got to start doing some video, doing the video component. So yeah, it's done. All right, I got 4 minutes left. Let's take these calls and I'm out. Tim in Hicksville, you're on the fan. What's up, Tim?
Well, listen, it's Pete Alonso thing. I think he's going to end this week. And I'm starting to get real excited because I think he's going to be in the Mets. It's still reported that they're back in talks, him and Boris Camp and Cohen after the Mets amazing day. Also, the offer on the table for the Mets is better than Blue Jays. And why the hell would he want to go to the Blue Jays? Everything he has this year, he lives here, he's a fan of the fans. He is a New Yorker. It's just, we're playing with house money, I think, for the Mets. And when they get him, my God, what a season it's going to be to look at. I just look forward to it, man. Because him in that lineup is just nice.
Yeah, it's going to feel a lot better. Thanks for the call, Tim. It's going to feel a lot better if, after all is said and done, more was said than done, and Pete Alonso is a Met, and nothing changed as far as like him going to Toronto or whatever. Like, if they can let bygones be bygones, and that's what I said in the beginning of the show, they just got to get in a room and hash it out. There's nowhere else for him to go. Somebody give a little bit, somebody swallow their pride a little bit, somebody kind of just say, hey, how do we make this happen? And maybe it's like Scott Boras. Maybe you pipe down. Let Steve talk to Pete. Let those two one-on-one put their heads together, because nobody wants to go to Canada. I know Pete doesn't really want to go to Canada. Rocco in Saratoga. What's up, Rock?
Yes. How you doing, my man? Keith. And I love the passion, Keith.
Thanks, Rock.
You know it. Hey, definitely. I don't want to be the dead horse like the polar bear, the Pete Alonso story. We hashed it out, this and that. Inevitably, Pete wants to be a Met. He needs to be a Met. His legacy is with the Met. He's not going to Toronto. He's not going to the Angels. That's Boris ploying, going meeting, trying to, there's interest. There's no damn interest like the Mets have. And Pete wants to be here. Scott Boras has to swallow his pride. It's about ego. It's about Boris's ego. And if he wants to do it right, you hear this, Scott? If you want to do right by your player, and maybe not get the big giant moonshot that you promised, Pete, negotiate fairly, and Pete wants to be here.
Thanks for the call, Rock. They just did a Juan Soto contract for $805 million over the next 15 years. Boras can definitely come off his high horse with that. Last call goes to RJ out on Staten Island. You got it.
What's up, Pete?
Bringing it home.
I just want to say, Alonso, for the Mets, I don't want him. We need someone like Vogelback. Honestly, I want a big guy like that who can plug home runs.
Big back Vogelback? What?
Vogelback.
Are you trolling? Are you trolling us? Is Vogelback in the league? Yeah. I mean, you got it in. You got it in there, but I don't know why you would do that. Like, Daniel Vogelback? That was Buck Showalter, Billy Epler. Like, what? Yeah, these are the Make It Happen Mets. Vogelback wasn't part of the Make It Happen Mets. He was part of Let It Happen Mets. He didn't do anything. They don't need him now. But yeah, 1 minute ago on SNY, at SNY TV on Twitter, Steve Cohen is reportedly back in conversation with Pete Alonso's camp. It was a tactic, and I think it worked in their favor. At Amazing Day, Steve Cohen took the mic and said, hold on. Let me tell y'all something for real. I'll be brutally honest, and Pete will be back. So I think that's good news. C-Mac is back. He's coming up next. I'm out. Yo, appreciate y'all. I got to go home. Train's in 10 minutes. Thank you for watching.